Hello everybody, happy Thursday. Welcome to TheoryCraft episode 35. It says down there. Episode 35. We're getting there. Almost 40. How you guys doing? It's good to see ya. We're chilling. We're gonna have a nice little chill analysis today. We got a bunch of games to watch. Potentially. We could either watch 2 games today, or we could watch like 7. So we'll see how we feel. We'll probably end up watching like 3 though. But we'll see. So last week was, for episode 34, that was what, Hawk vs. Starbuck? That was cool. That was cool to go over. Learned a thing or two. Got yet another Human vs. Orc episode. Hello everybody. What's up, Blue Sun? What's up, Storov? Big D Steve, AKM, Solani. What's up, Peanut Butter Pancakes? Hello. So that was fun. And I was going to do more DreamHack replays. Thank you for Todd last week for sending me the DreamHack replays so I could do the Hawk vs. Starbuck analysis. Without him, I wouldn't have gotten them. But none of the Asia replays have been released yet for DreamHack, so I still don't have them. I still cannot get those replays. I did try, but they haven't been released yet. So maybe next week? Or when? Not next week, though. Maybe the week after. Unfortunate. We're still going to try to do an episode, at least one episode on every race from those games from DreamHack Winter. But I only have the European replays right now. And of course, there's not a lot of Orc players in Europe, as you guys might know. So we're going to do some older replays today. But that's still to come. And maybe there'll be AWL just finished. So maybe we could get some of the AWL replays as well. I'll see if I can get my hands on those, because there's a lot of good games. I was actually just looking at the AWL results like 2 minutes ago. I actually want to look at them right now. I don't normally have segues like this, but I do want to see, is there any games we could go over if we can get our hands on those replays. Spoiler alert, I'm about to spoil every AWL result that just finished last night, okay? I'm about to spoil every AWL result. Here we go. Yeah, I don't know what we could watch. See, I was looking at this. Right? This could definitely be really good. Right? Some stuff. Ooh, baby. So maybe if I can get my hands on these replays, it would be good. Do some 1-2-0 versus Elf or something like that. Because he seems to be doing pretty good against Elf. Yeah, and then there's like some games here. So there's lots of games. So I get my hands on these replays. Like, look at all the Lin games we could have gone over. Look at all these. Ooh, baby. If we had these. If we had these, it would have been incredible. Use America? Well, we could have done some Hitman replays maybe for the day. Maybe do Hitman vs. Cruncher or something. But the thing is, with the Hitman vs. Cruncher series, it was a 3-0, and Cruncher tried to fast expand 2 of 3 games, so we didn't really get the best idea. Stuff like that. And we've done so much Orc vs. Human, I wasn't going to do another Orc vs. Human. I wasn't doing another one. But still, we found some good games to learn from for today. Next week, community replay review. I'll do my usual thing. Let me bring this notepad up. So you can submit your replays. You can submit them here. I've already got quite a few replays. But keep sending them in. I got a few in my email and a few in our Discord. If you go to discord.backtowarcraft, how do you spell warcraft.com? And you can find it. Oh, this is a dot. See, that's maybe more obvious. And then you can join the TheoryCraft channel. Woo! And you can submit replays through there. So you can either email me or you can join our Discord and send me replays. And we'll analyze them next week. That'll be next week's episode, which is supposed to be on November 11th, but it might be rescheduled. I'll make sure to keep you guys in the loop for if next week's is rescheduled. It would be on like a Wednesday or maybe a Friday or something next week, because there might be something else going on Thursday that needs to be at this time. So we'll see. We'll see. But that will be the next episode, which will tentatively be on Thursday. Do you ever review 4v4 games, or are they too chaotic for useful reviewing? Well, one, they're too chaotic, and two, there's not really, and I've said this, the exact point for 2v2 games as well, there's not a solid meta. Like, everyone thinks they're really good at 4v4 and 3v3 and 2v2, but there's not really a defined meta. Like, everyone plays different. The Europeans play different from the Americans, that play different from the Asians. Every team wins and loses with different strategies almost every single time I see them, so there's not a solid defined meta, so it's really hard to do analysis on what might be good or work when the people playing these games don't even know what's good or what works. Whereas in 1v1 and FFA, I will say as well, FFA is pretty figured out, we do know what works a lot of the time. We do know what works. J-Wolf or Ja-Wolf? I don't know who that is, actually. Yeah, November 11th is Remembrance Day here in Canada. So I'll be remembering. Yeah, so that's next week's episode. Yeah, so did we do that last week? Next week? Replays for this week? Yeah, I think we did it. So today's going to be a funner episode. We're just going to chill. We're going to analyze some games at a very basic level. We're just going to try to get a broad understanding of something today. So today's episode title is, hopefully this is centered. It's not centered. Exploring Farseer versus Elf. Let me center this. Boop. And we've done episodes on Orc against Night Elf before. We've done one from the Night Elf perspective and one from the Orc perspective. So this isn't, we haven't sort of oversaturated this matchup yet. I will say for other Orc things I want to do in the future, I want to do Farseer Headhunters versus Undead, because we did it from Happy's side for the Happy vs. Focus review, but we haven't done it from the Orcs side of things yet. So I would like to do Farseer Headhunters and Blade against DK. And what else would I like to do? Oh, I'd also like to do Blade Mirror in Orc Mirror in the future. So that's 3 other Orc episodes that I would like to do in the future that we're still sort of missing out on. But for now, we'll do another versus Elf episode until we have the replays available. So, exploring Farseer versus Elf. The reason why this is going to be kind of more of a chilled out episode, and we're just going to watch some games and talk about it and learn a thing or two, is because I really don't know anything about Farseer versus Elf. You know, the other episodes I do them based on, you know, previous understanding, at least to an extent on the matchup, and then I, you know, do some deeper analysis. So I'm like, oh, those are some things I didn't realize, and we can talk about those, and then we can do the baseline at the beginning, and then eventually dive deeper. But for this, like, I don't play Farseer against Elf. It's not played too commonly. Like, for instance, in a best-of-3 or a best-of-5, we might see Orc players play it about once in a series. Play it about once. They're not going to play Farseer every single game a lot of the time in a best-of-3 or a best-of-5 at the top Asian level. They're just going to pull it out every once in a while. So there's not too many games of it, but when it is played, it has pretty good success rate against Night Elf. And players like Focus and Lin do it quite often. Focus in particular does it a lot, more than other Orcs. But still, he still goes back to the Blade standard as well. And we did an episode on that. It was, what was that episode called? I can't remember the number. It was the fundamentals of Orc against Night Elf, which was talking about Blade Master, Shadowhunter, Grunt, Shaman, Tier 2 expansion versus Night Elf, Keeper, Alchemist, Archer, Huntresses. Right? We did a whole episode on that. So if you're trying to think, okay, what standard if not Farseer versus Elf? Well, we did a whole episode on that. It's Blade Master, Shadowhunter, Grunt, Shaman, with an eventual Tier 3 tech into Bloodlust and some Kodos and some Raiders and a Pit Lord third, stuff like that. So that's what the standard is. That's what the majority of best-of-5s and best-of-3s at the top level will look like. The Elf will try to get a fast expo up. They'll eventually go into mass archers with a priestess and an alchemist and a keeper. And the Orc will try to also get an expansion up and, you know, try to pressure the Elf enough to secure their expansion. And then eventually both players go Tier 3 and it gets crazy, right? Which is what I know how to play as an Orc player, personally myself. That's what I try to play every time. That's the matchup that I understand best of all. This is the most standard Orc against Elf. I have a decent understanding of what you're supposed to do and how to analyze the games. But then things can sometimes get crazy in this matchup. They can get crazy from the elf side of things. So what else can the elf do, for instance? Well, they can play Demon Hunter first and go into Talons or Lores, right? That gets a little crazy. They can play Keeper and then go into Talons or Lores. They can play, like, Keeper Naga, Mass Archer, and do an all-in. They can do Mass Huntresses and AP push, stuff like that. What's up, Kiwi? How's it going? Good person to be here for the day. We could talk about... We're going to watch some Lin and some focus games. And we'll see what you think. We'll see what you think. Because maybe you're not into it. Maybe you're not into them. Let's see. Let's see. So there's plenty of different crazy stuff the elf can do from their side of things. Now, the orc always tends to have to react to these. Right? If it's a Keeper fast expansion, they need to get a counter expansion and go Blade, Shadow, Grunt Shaman, and try to pressure with level 3 Shadow Hunter to secure their own expansion. Then we go into the tier 3 late game, like we mentioned in a standard game. If it's Demon Hunter, maybe the orc has to go Blade Master Torn, Chieftain, Raider, Walker, and try to hit like a 40 supply level 2 TC timing. If it's against Talons, that gets crazy as well. If it's Keeper, Demon Hunter second, Talons from the elf, maybe the orc player has to go tier 3 and do the Hitman, Burning Oil, Demolisher thing. So the orc is always reacting to what the night elf is doing. And there's plenty of different strategies just when it comes to Blade Master against elf, right? Plenty of different things. And because of that, because there's so much to analyze and so much to learn just from a reactionary side of things on the orc's part, I haven't delved into Farseer at all. Don't know a thing about playing Farseer against elf. Didn't even know a single strategy of Farseer against elf other than just straight up tower rushing them on tier 2, which is something I've done before. Until like 2 days ago, until I started downloading these replays and watching some of them. Looks like it's impossible to fast expand for humans against Farseer. It's difficult, that's for sure. Now, one important point that why is this useful, you might ask? Like, I just want to play Blade against Night Elf, which is good. I'm going to, even after today's episode, even after learning some new strategies, I'm still going to play Blade against Night Elf. That's how I enjoy playing against Night Elf. That's how I have the most success playing against Night Elf. That's how I will continue to play against Night Elf, and that's how most top orcs will continue to play against Night Elf. Most top Asians, Fly, Soen, Lin, they all play Blade. Focus plays more Farseer, but he still plays Blade. Hitman plays Blade, right? But why do we have to know this? Why is it essential for every orc player to know how to play Farseer to an extent against Night Elf? Can anyone tell me? Yeah, Grubby plays, Grubby's not a top orc, right? Carson, where can I find the replays? Do you guys have the answer for that question? I'll answer it in a second if you guys don't get it. Carson, where can I find the replays you are downloading to watch? Need to get a better base layout builds for various maps. If you ask me, if you join our Discord, I can post the replay packs after the episode in the Discord. Does anyone know? Why is it necessary for every orc player to be able to play Farseer against Night Elf? Why is that necessary? Why can we not just know how to play Blade? Does anyone know? Does anyone know? Korea. I'm in gym. I'll message you there. Appreciate it. Yeah, gotcha. Cool. Because Farseer is the best. Fair, Kiwi. Buttcrumbs, thanks for the 100 bits, dude. TheoryCraft with Carlson. Best time of the week, thank you. Farsight OP, not too predictable. That's something we'll touch on. There's a very important thing, especially for us ladder players, right? For, the majority of us that are just playing on ladder and having fun, not playing a ton of tournaments. I only play BM and an elf. Yes, you only play BM and a night elf, but what if, as an orc player, you face a player playing random? What if you face a player playing random? Let's think about that. So what do we do against random? Do we play Blade Master against random? Probably not nowadays. Probably not. Why? Because 1, against human, Blade Master is, of course, weak for obvious reasons. 2, against undead, if they go Crypt Lord, we're in a tough position without Farseer. What, Victor? Oh, you mean the episode title? So if we're against random, we have to at times be able to play Farseer against Night Elf. Or against Night Elf, because we don't want to just have to go Blade Master every single time against random. I would argue that's one reason why. Just scout before you pick. Yeah, just immediately send a peon. So that's one reason, but also, like, even when we're not against random, lots of top players still play Farseer against Night Elf at times. Other than Hitman, which is why Hitman's pissed. But, you know, Fly, Lin, Focus, they all play Farseer against Night Elf, even when it's not a random player. Yeah, it is pretty good on specific maps, I would say. Alright. Where are we going next? So that's why it's maybe necessary to know this. But with that being said, I'm still going to play Blade against Night Elf every game. But it's worth talking about. So why might FS be better than Blade in some situations? Because obviously these players aren't just doing it against random, they're doing it against Moon, and they're making it work. Why is FS in some situations better than Blade against Night Elf? Which is a question that might not have an answer. Maybe Blade is just better in every single situation against Night Elf, but clearly there's some advantage to going Farseer, or else Orc players would not go Farseer. Mass dots? Sure. Depends on map, probably. Definitely depends on the map. Yes, definitely depends on the map, and we'll talk about that as well. It's not going to be good on every map. Although, yeah, it's not good on every map. It's not played on every map. It's played on 3 maps most of all, I would say. The first reason, I'll put this in my notes, is it somewhat limits the elf's options. How does it limit the options? Well, let's just cross one thing off the list right away. Talons. Because what's the purpose of Talons? The purpose of Talons is disabling the Blade Master. So they're not going to go Talons against Farseer. And especially if you're playing Farseer Headhunters, obviously they're not going to go Talons, and also you already have Chain Lightning by default. They're just not going to go Talons against a Farseer. So if you struggle against Talons, you just go Farseer, and that option's off the table. What other option might be off the table? A lot of the time, I would say, at least with how Focus plays it, it's cool. Yeah, that's a great reason to play Farseer. Another thing off the table that's limiting the options, probably Mass Archers. With how Focus plays it, he prioritizes getting level 3 Farseer very early and then pressuring while creeping up a second hero. Mass Archer, probably off the table. Probably off the table. So that's already 2 things which are normally the 2 most standard options against Orc that are just gone. Mass Archer, Mass Talons, a lot of the time. From the replays that I analyzed of the top level players, no one played Mass Archers, no one played Talons against Farseer. So say what you will, sometimes people go Mass Archers against my Farseer on ladder and I lose to it all the time. Might be true, but at the top level, didn't even see any Night Elf player attempting Archers or Talons when they saw Farseer. So what does that leave you with? Pretty much, you can still go do an Archer opener, of course you have to, but pretty much you simplify the game down to lores. Down to lores. So they end up going Keeper or Demon Hunter, Keeper or Panda. You know, sometimes maybe Keeper Alchemist, but mostly Keeper Demon Hunter, Keeper Panda. Maybe Keeper Naga, very seldom. And lores. You simplify the game down to lores. So that makes it nice, right? We'd love to simplify Elf's options. Because if you remember the episode I did on Laliat, when he won the, what was that tournament Laliat won? Ladin's tournament that Hitman played in. I forget. We did a whole episode on him, how crazy he is against Orc. He does different things. He'll hide lores and go into mass dryads. He'll hide APs and do tower rushes. He'll do 5 different strategies over a best of 5. Right? So limiting Elf's options is nice for us. It makes our game a lot easier because a lot of the difficulty of Orc against Night Elf is figuring out what the hell they're doing. It's figuring out what the hell they're doing. So that's one thing. And you guys are saying a lot in the chat, and we'll get to what you guys think the advantages of Farseer against Elf is. I would say another advantage is, and this could be argued, maybe you could say Blade Master's better at this, but in my opinion, I think Farseer is better at this. You can more easily scout and cancel the expo. Burning Blades, thank you for the 15 months. Now, why can you more easily scout the expansion? You have 3 units instead of 1. Self-explanatory. Why can you more easily cancel the expansion? Well, a lot of the time, if you're not level 2, right? If you're not level 2 with a Blade Master, and if you're not level 2 with Mirror Image, which is something Fly does very often, he'll go Mirror Image on level 2 as an attempt to cancel the expansion, because you can use the Mirror Image to break the Entangle. The Entangle's used to stop the Blade from canceling the expansion. But with 2 Wolves and a Farseer, they can't just entangle your only source of damage. So very often in these games I was watching, I saw the Orc just find the expansion early and cancel it with pretty much just a solo Farseer. And yes, they can detonate Wisps, but if you have level 2 already, you can just Chain Lightning the Wisps. It makes it very easily. So you can at least more easily scout the expansion, and a lot of times you can more easily cancel the expansion. What do you guys say in the chat? There's a couple things. What did Kiwi say? Because you can scout perfectly and have more gold for... Oh, you were talking about the fast expansion is made easier? Is that what you're talking about, Kiwi? You have more gold for more units and still preventing the Keeper of the Grove from leveling early. You also get knocked out of the fight by Blade getting focused. That's true. And you can also tier 2 more... Oh, these are all reasons. Yeah, I would say those are all good. You have better scouting. You have more gold for units, which was going to be my next point. Your hero doesn't get focused, so you don't get knocked out of the fight like that. And you can tier 2 expo more easily. And a tier 2 expo is something very, very common, for sure. So the next reason, in my opinion, why Farseer might be better than Blade in some situations against Elf, and this is a kind of a big one. You can, of course, power creep more easily. Farseer creeps faster than Blade Master. Farseer creeps faster than Blade Master. And you can also, this is a huge point, you creep more cheaply. It's cheaper to creep. Why? Because you don't need to use heal salves. Now, a Blade Master tries to creep to level 3. He spends, you know, at least 200 gold on creeping that. Farseer doesn't spend any of that. Doesn't even need to buy items. Doesn't even need to build a shop before teching. So not only do you get a faster tech, you just don't spend that gold on salves. You just don't need to, because you tank on the Wolves. You can get level 3 without using a single heal salve on a lot of maps with Farseer. Blade Master, that's obviously impossible. Well, if you scout it, Tupac Watcher asks, the Wolves are really squishy and die pretty quick. How can they cancel the expansion? Well, because on paper you should be scouting it much more easily as well. So you should be finding it earlier. So you should be able to cancel it a lot of the time. But it's not guaranteed. It's not just because you go Farseer you're going to be able to stop their expansion entirely, obviously. There's another indirect reason why sometimes the Elf won't even expand. And that's because Farseer can also be paired with... Kiwi does this a lot as well. Lots of tower rushes and stuff like that. You can do Farseer Headhunter tower rushes. You can do, you know, a Farseer Naga Grunt tower rush on tier 2. Farseer Shadowhunter Serpent Ward tower rush. There's a lot of weird cheeses you can mix in with Night Elf. So we're going to see the Night Elf players, even the top players, Colorful Moon, they're going to at times play very defensive because they're not sure at tier 2 what the Orc is doing. So the tables almost turn in a way when you play Farseer, whereas with Blade Master, it's very predictable. As an Elf player, I know my Orc opponent, if they go Blade, is going to go Blade, Shadowhunter, Grunt Shaman a lot of the time, if they see Keeper Alchemist. Against a Farseer, we don't know, are they going to play Raider Walker, are they going to play Raider Shaman, are they going to do a tier 2 expansion, are they going to tower rush at tier 2, are they going to go Naga second, are they going to go Shadowhunter second, Torn Chieftain second? It makes the Orc very unpredictable, whereas before... it was the Elf player that was unpredictable. Yeah, exactly, Kiwi. With Farseer, you have a million options. With Blade, you're stuck in your one build. Absolutely. Which, in some cases, kind of deters the Night Elf from going for a fast expansion in fear of just being all in at tier 2, because that is very common to Farseer tower rush. In fact, I mentioned before... when I play Farseer, when I have to play Farseer against a random player that randoms Night Elf as an Orc player, I just tower rush them at tier 2. And it's pretty good, actually. It's pretty good. And the last but not least point, why Farseer maybe is better than Blade in some situations against Night Elf. There might be more than this. We could try to think of some more as well. I literally came up with these like as the stream was starting. I was like, hey, why do people play Farseer? So these are just off the cuff sort of points. But you can harass the second hero more effectively. Whereas with a Blade Master, if you're trying to slow down the creeping of, let's say, the Alchemist, or maybe in some cases the Panda or the Demon Hunter, whatever, the Naga, the Beastmaster, who cares, right? You're trying to slow down the creeping of the second hero with a Blade Master, and then they just dust you and tangle your blade and focus you, and you're out of it. Or they have Huntresses, they put a Sentinel up on a tree, they entangle you, and you're out of there. Whereas with a Farseer, not only are you ranged, so it's easy to get last hits without actually having to fully commit in. You also have Chain Lightning to get last hits. Again, you don't have to fully commit in. And you also have Wolves. One, that allows you to scout where they're creeping. Two, it allows you to pressure their creeping indirectly without actually having to commit your whole hero in. So you can pressure their first hero. You can pressure the Keeper easily. But still, it's not really a, there being Sentinels on a tree or them having dust or them killing your blade when you're trying to harass their level 1 Keeper isn't really a problem in the early game. But later on, harassing with a blade becomes a problem. But later on, harassing with a Farseer is no more difficult than it is in the early game because of all these factors, which can come into play. So those are some reasons at least. There's probably more. Maybe there's even less. Who knows? Maybe none of these are true. That's what I came up with. So there's some reasons why maybe Farseer is a decent option at times. Now, we're going to be watching some Lyn replays and some Focus replays. We're going to be starting with a Focus replay. We're going to watch a couple of different strategies, but mostly this episode is going to be revolving around what I came to understand as the standard Farseer strategy from these top-level Asian orcs, from the Focuses and the Lyns and the flies and stuff, right? This is the strategy they did most commonly of all the replays I found. That's what we'll be focusing on, but we'll do a couple of different strategies. But it's worth noting before that Lyn and Focus, the two players we're going to be talking about, they play a little bit differently overall. I would say Focus does, one, he plays Farseer more often than every other orc in the world against Night Elf at the top Asian level, of the big four in Asia. He plays it the most. And he plays much more standard. He plays pretty much the same strategy every time I see him play. And that's going to be the first replay we're going to watch. Thanks, friends. I appreciate that, man. He plays pretty much the same strategy every time, from what I understood. I had about 10 replays of Focus, playing Farseer and winning against Night Elf. I don't know how many I had of him losing. Probably 100, right? That's what Hitman would say. But of those, say, 10 replays, I think only one time he didn't do this strategy we're about to watch. So this is his favorite. This is his favorite strat, this one. And it's pretty standard. It seems pretty standard. So that's how Focus plays Farseer. He was close to the bone. Hey, I appreciate that, man. That's really nice. Thank you. He sticks close to the bone, right? Whereas Lyn is a little bit more of a wild man. Lyn's really, I consider him the moon of orc, right? So he does a lot of different stuff. He also does a lot of different strategies. There's going to be one replay in particular that's just ridiculous that we're going to watch. I'm not sure how good this strategy is, but we're going to watch it because it's kind of cool. He did a different strategy almost every single time I watched him. So we'll watch a couple of different Lyn replays perhaps, and we'll see how he changes it up. He also does some different creep routes from Focus, even on the same maps. So Lyn's a little bit more all over the place. He does more, I would say, all-in builds. He does more builds that are reliant on almost a cheese in a way, that are reliant on his opponent, sort of knowing how to counter it preemptively, but the build order itself is so crazy that there's no way you can preemptively know how to counter it. That's how Lyn plays. And tries to just throw his opponent off. Because again, Lyn is a player that's only playing Farseer maybe once a series. And for instance, to show how he only plays it about once a series, I'll prove it to you. This series was played last night. Spoiler alert. This was played last night. Lyn versus 15 Sui. 5-map series. Blade, Farseer, Blade. Right? About once a series on a good map, Tidehunters. That he likes it. So he played Farseer once in 5 maps. And that's how Lin does it. Whereas a player like Focus, is Focus in this tournament? He'd play it more like 2 or 3 times in a series. I don't know. We don't see him against no. Maybe I can find some of his series. Let's see if I can prove this point. So that was the last best of 5 that Lin played. Let's see. Focus. Yeah, but Focus didn't play against any Night Elves. That's what I'm looking for. Focus versus Foggy. Oh, again. So, you know, doesn't entirely prove my point, but regardless, at least it's one time in a series. This is his last series against Night Elf. Apparently. He played it once. He played it once, right? So maybe it's not entirely true that Focus plays it more than Lin, but still, they're always mixing it in like once a series. Yes, he lost this game, but they're throwing it in there, right? They're throwing it in. And it's good to have variety. It's always good. We talk about that all the time. It's good to have variety when you're a competitive player that, one, is being analyzed by your opponents, and two, is you're playing full series. You're playing full series, right? Look at this. Here's a best of 3. Yes, Lin lost 2-0, or Focus lost 2-0, but look, he plays Farseer map 1, played map 2. They're mixing it up, and it's so cool that Orc players now have variety, or at least some more variety with the Farseer option. Because, of course, Farseer in the past was just known as not a thing against Night Elf. Just not a thing. And I'm still kind of in that mindset myself, which is why I never play it. And Hitman's in that mindset as well. He never plays it. But all these other orcs are playing it. Look, wins 2-1, Farseer once, Blade twice, right? Yes, he lost the Farseer. That's not what I'm trying to prove here. I'm just showing, yes, they're throwing it in there. It was the only game he lost. They went to Blade and it worked, sure. I concede that point. Cool. So cool we have multiple ways of losing. I don't need your negativity, Hitman. I don't need that today, alright? I want to say a positive. For every one negative comment you say today, I need one positive comment as well, Victor, okay? That's how this is going to work. Yeah, Focus sure loses a lot. He sure loses a lot of games. Let's just look at one more. Let's look at one more to see. Oh, what do you know? Here's one more series. Another series he lost. But Farseer played it once. He played it once in the series. Played the rest of them. Incredible, right? Incredible. Absolutely incredible. So it's very common. Like, I just went through all the Focus. Let's go through Lin's, whatever, dude. I don't care. We can do a longer episode today. Who cares if it's an hour-long intro? Let's do it for Lin, too. Let's look at some of Lin's series. I'm just trying to prove to you guys that this is, you know, this is something that players are actually doing, right? Because when I did the fast expansion against Farseer Headhunter episode, people lost their minds because it's like, no way anyone does this. Well, yes, I'm showing you this. People do this. People do Farseer against Night Elf. It's common. All the time. People do it all the time. Let's look at some Lin series. Okay, he did Blade Master in that one. Oh, look. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Farseer. Blade the rest of it. Farseer. What's up, Armin? How you doing? Farseer not allowed versus Night Elf. Was this madness? I'm proving to you that it is allowed. I'm proving to you right now that it is allowed. Oh, let's look at this. So far, 3 of the last 4 series that Lin played. Here's number 4. Oh, Farseer once in a series. Blade the other 2. There was only one series so far that Lin had not played Blade. Let's look at another one. Let's look at another one. Where's the next? Here's this one. Okay, this was a 2-0. You won it with Blade. Here's a 3-0. Oh, what do you know? Here's a 3-0. The one after that, 2 maps with Farseer. Farseer Torn Chieftain. Interesting. I don't have those replays. Hey, one with Blade. All right. I think my point's been proven. So it's not as common as Blade. It's probably played about 25% of the time. And then Blade's probably played about 75% of the time. Right? I think that's fair to say. Of the players, Fly, Focus, Soen, Lin. Right? Of those guys. But Fly barely plays, and Soen barely plays right now, too. So, Focus and Lin. FS is the most abusable thing versus lower level elves. Don't be fooled by pros losing with it. Might be true. Fly went down pretty much lately. Yeah, I haven't seen Fly play at all recently. Okay. All right. So do you guys believe me? You guys believe me? Farseer versus Elf can be a real thing? I know Kiwi believes me. I know that. He loves it. He loves it for himself. You guys believe me? Is there anything else I need to cover in this intro? No. So, Razorman plays it every time. True, Razorman loves it as well. 100% for Razorman. And honestly, the reason why Soen might not do it a lot, if he does, I didn't check his profile, but I imagine Soen plays Blade much more often. The reason why Soen plays Blade much more often is because he's a Hitman fanboy. That's why. 36-minute intro, we can do better. Yeah, it's shorter, right? Shorter. At 1500 MMR is the shit? Yeah, that's probably true. I would say that the lower level you go, the more useful this episode will be. But honestly, I would say with Farseer, at the really low levels, the best way to play it is just tower rush your opponent. It doesn't even matter what you do. Farseer, Naga, 4 grunt tower rush with the Demolisher while you're pushing. Can we get to turn on how to bat lame the shit out of Elf? I need some games for that. I need some Hitman bat lame games. Linguagua probably has some replays of that as well. Maybe I could find some Linguagua bat lame games. Maybe some Starshape. I know Starshape said he'd hook me up with some Raider bat lame replays. I have a 28% win rate versus Elf. Let's talk. Scars, do you play Blade or Farseer against Elf? And if you play Farseer against Elf, I'm interested in hearing what is your most common way you play Farseer against Night Elf? What's the most common strategy you use? Do you play Farseer Headhunters? Farseer Headhunter Shaman, TC second? How do you play it? I'm actually interested. Because this is not only me showing you guys some replays that I found of top players playing Farseer and it working against Elf. This is also me learning about Farseer against Night Elf. That's what today's episode's about. Because like I said at the start, I don't know a thing about playing Farseer against Night Elf. Fast Tech, Grunt Raider Walker, Shadowhunter second, Tier 2 Expo. Okay, cool. That is a strategy I saw. And the first replay we're going to watch is in fact very similar to that, minus the Fast Tech, minus the Walkers. Farseer, Headhunter, Naga, Tower Rush is easy. I do think that's a good way to play. And one other thing I'll note is all the replays we're going to watch today are going to be versus Keeper, because the top players only play Demon Hunter on Last Refuge. It's just how it goes. Top players only play Demon Hunter on Last Refuge. What can I say? I will say, though, if you play a lot against Demon Hunter with Farseer, I think Tower Rush is even better against Demon Hunter than against Keeper. FS, Grunt, Headhunter, Shaman, Shadowhunter second, Expo. Yep. Few Raider or Kodo. I think that's pretty much what we're going to see in the first replay. All right, so we're all kind of on the same page with how Farseer's normally played against Elf. So let's see how Focus does it in replay 1 against Colorful either the best or second best Night Elf in the entire world right now on Autumn Leaves. This is old Autumn Leaves because all these replays are old. But honestly, I think new Autumn Leaves, yes, it's a bit worse for Farseer overall, but for this game, the changes to Autumn Leaves aren't going to affect this game at all. The game would have played exactly the same if we were on this Autumn Leaves or the newer Autumn Leaves. So here's replay number 1. Let's see what we can learn. Here we go. And by the way, I don't have any replay numbers here or names here because I didn't know, I don't know how many games we're going to watch today. Like I said, we might watch 3, we might watch 10 replays. So this is Focus. This is Focus. This is Colorful. So let's see what happens. BM Naga Headhunter Tower Rush. Love it. Love it. I used to do Blade Master Naga Tower Rush all the time in Talon meta. So far, this isn't Farseer Headhunters. This is at least Farseer's single grunt opener, right? Do I have sound on? There we go. I would say, thank you, Hitman. Now you can say something negative. Now you have one negative comment allowed. Alright, so this is going to be a Farseer grunt opener. And like I said, the strategy that Focus does here, guys, is the strategy that he does almost every game. Almost every game. The creep route, the opening creep route will change depending on the map. Of course, that's always true. But this is what Focus does. This is his thing right here. So what he's going to do is he's going to do 1 burrow tech without shop, single grunt. And also what he's going to do, which is maybe where this differs Focus from other players that play Farseer against Night Elf. Focus is not going to harass right away. He's going to creep to level 3 on the Farseer. And as we get further into the game, we can talk about why that might be good. But that's going to be, probably that is already something foreign to a lot of Orc players. Creep to level 3, I'm not going to insta-harass Night Elf. Well, Focus does it. So yeah, Keeper, it's all going to be standard for Colorful, of course. And like I said, one of the big advantages to Farseer versus playing Blade Master is you creep faster, and you also creep for much less gold. Now, I will say, oh look at that, the Wisp is still here, but the detonate already happened. This is something that's very, very common. And let's, like, what maps, the first camp that you'd creep on, what maps would have a Trapper? Echo Isles, it has a Trapper. Tidehunters, it has a Trapper. Concealed Hill, it has a Trapper. Autumn Leaves, it has a Trapper. Last Refuge, it has a Trapper. What are the other maps? What are the other maps in the pool? Help me out. Shallow Grave doesn't have a Trapper, I don't think. No, it doesn't have a Trapper. But pretty much all the maps have a Trapper. So we want to be able to... Lost Temple doesn't have a Trapper. Yeah, Echo? Yeah, I said EI has a Trapper. EI has a Trapper. Yeah. He actually tanked all the damage with the FS and the Grunt, not to worry about the Detonate. That's interesting. Yeah, that was really cool that he did that, right? But also, what I've seen some players do is because all these maps, the first camp will creep has a Trapper, they'll purposefully, let me restart, they'll purposely not get their first unit ensnared. Like sometimes you'll mess up a bit and you'll get your Grunt ensnared or whatever, right? Yeah, Tidehunters has a Trapper as well at the Sea Giant camp. This is just a small point. This is just a small point, but it's just something that I thought was maybe interesting to talk about. So this first camp. So, like, if he Congo lines in here, which is going to be a common mistake a lot of maybe lower level players make. If he Congo lines in here, the wolf perhaps in the back is going to eat the ensnare. Now, this isn't the end of the world, but what it means is now this Trapper's ensnare is on cooldown. So he's not going to ensnare another unit. What could be the other unit? Well, it'd be the Wisp. When the Wisp comes in for the Detonate, this trapper will normally ensnare, not if it's on cooldown from ensnaring one of your units. So what I think is important for Focus to do here, and this is something he slightly fails, and in other games I've seen them slightly fail this as well, but maybe I'm wrong here, this is just a passing point, is make sure none of his units get ensnared, and also try to kill the trapper, I think, last. See, here he kills the trapper second. I think it would be a better order to kill this, the berserker, then the wolf, then the trapper, even though the trapper does more damage than the wolf. That's why he kills it second. He does it in order of the damage from the creeps. I think keeping the trapper alive so that when the wisp comes in for the detonate, you can move the wolves back here, and the wisp gets ensnared. Because look how this works out here.
Player's forces are under attack.
So no ensnare's been cast, so this trapper still has an ensnare off cooldown. But he kills the trapper, and then the wisp comes in and detonates his wolves. Which they don't get killed because of this, but if he tanked a little bit of damage not on the Farseer, they would have both, right? And this happens in a lot of games that I've watched. How to prevent the ensnare? Just run in with all the units at the same time. Just run in with all four of them at the same time. So they're not, again, Congo lining in. So if I'm running towards this camp, there's a trapper here, not running in a line like this with, you know, 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit, 4 unit. Run in. Watch him. He's going to run in with all of them at the same time. Maybe he gets ensnared here. Nope, see, he's going to run in with all of them at the same time. That wolf still got ensnared. I think because he attacked it, Creep AI is weird. I think because he attacked it before they had actually engaged the units and ensnared the wolf there, I think that's what happened. But pretty much if you run in with all of them before you actually attack them, it doesn't get ensnared. And of course, he didn't get ensnared at this first camp earlier, right?
A player's forces are under attack.
Tech, and then he got his second burrow and his shop right after the tech. Might as well, because you have the extra gold, because you're not building a second grunt until the second burrow's finished. This is where Lynn's creep route is a little bit different from Focus's, but Focus is just going to creep this, and then he's going to creep this, and he's going to get level 3. Now, he is accepting in this game that the Keeper is also going to get level 3, which it probably will. Yeah, in fact, Colorful's probably going to... Yeah, he's going to pull this. So he's accepting the Night Elf's going to have a lot of space to get level 3. Now, if we allow the Night Elf to get level 3, what do we have to be worried about? What do we have to be scared of? We have to be scared of level 2 Entangle. So if ever we're in a situation where our grunt is out of position, and by out of position I mean not in our base like this grunt is, and this grunt's probably about to be, the level 3 Keeper is going to just kill those grunts. So that's something we're sacrificing by allowing the Night Elf to creep. We're getting level 3 ourselves, so we can pressure with our level 2 Wolves and our Farseer. But we're not going to be able to do much with our grunts on the map, because if the Entangle's only level 1, we can actually fight against the Entangle in a way. But if the Entangle's level 2, we can't really do that.
A player's forces are under attack.
So he gets level 3, and then he's just going to send the grunt back home. These 2 grunts are going to chill. Why doing grunts then in the first place? You mean why not fast tech? Well, if he fast teched, he wouldn't be able to creep level 3. Right? And if he went headhunters are so weak actually health-wise that even if the headhunters were chilling in the back of the base, if the Keeper gets level 3, the Keeper can literally just run in, entangle, get 2 auto attacks, and that kills a headhunter. And he can just do that over and over again. Whereas with grunts, you can't really do that. We're in fact going to see the grunt health come into play here in a second. But yeah, but without the grunts, you can't creep obviously to level 3. As good as a Farseer is at creeping. Now, if there was an expansion coming up, potential for a cancel. If it was a very, very early expansion, it wouldn't be cancelable. But a standard timed expansion might be canceled. In the meantime, the grunt's just chilling. Back at home, Shadowhunter. He's got 3 burrows, of course. Spirit Lodge, Bestiary. This is going to be Shamans, and this is going to be Raiders for the first while of this game. And while he's waiting for the Shadowhunter, he's just pressuring what could be soon a second Heroes Creeping. And of course, if this Ancient War isn't in position, like say this Ancient War is here, then he maybe can go wake up the creeps and aggro on the Ancient War. Maybe it's here. Maybe it's here. In some cases, maybe it'll be here, or on the new Autumn Leaves, it could be over here. Right, so what he's doing with the Farseer is he's pressuring the archers, but he's also going to be pressuring the Ancient War if it's not in the main base. What is this doing indirectly? Well, it's stopping either the Demon Hunter second, or what in this case is going to be a Panda second, from creeping with just a solo hero. But what about over there? Over here? Probably not. And this is something that a Blade just wouldn't be able to do right now. Again, double lore, we already talked about. Double lore is normally the reaction from Night Elves against a Farseer because you're not going to go Talons. Obviously, there's no Blade Master, and archers are weak for the reason we just saw. They just got owned by a solo Farseer. You said the map update wouldn't change this game, but Colorful got level 3 off a pulled wolf on the Merc camp. Big lie detected. Yeah, what I mean is it's not going to change the game in favor of Focus, because Focus is going to win this game. So him winning this game is not going to be determined by the map being different. Right? Right? You see?
A player's forces are under attack.
So any advantage that Colorful gains via the map's differences doesn't matter because Focus wins. If these were Headhunters, these would be dead. Right? Even though they're hiding in the base. Really, really nice defense from Focus, though. I would have lost both grunts.
A player's forces are under attack.
Now, other small, because Hitman said that, other small difference, these camps have Purge. So this actually wouldn't be possible. But, I mean, is this really going to win him the game? I mean, come on. Him creeping this with wolves 2 seconds earlier? Is this gonna win him? I don't think so, okay? What a waste of popcorn. I mean, you guys know the Orc player is going to win. It's Orc Day. Ancient War was out of position, so the Panda had to creep a smaller camp, but soon enough the Ancient War will be in position. And just Shaman Adept, right? He's got a Raider with Ensnare. Last TheoryCraft human lost 1 or 2 of the games. Yeah, the first 2 he did. But I said he lost. I said he lost the first 2. Before we watched the replays. Okay. Farseer's looking for the Panda's creeping, again to slow it down. This is a luxury that the Farseer has, if possible. Not really gonna find him, though. He's going to pull this. That's the nice thing about having Raiders, regardless of the difficulty of this creep camp. It seems that Book of the Dead usage was bad, though. I think it was fine. He very well could have got 2 grunts off that Book of the Dead usage. Now, the cool thing about Raiders, whereas if this were Blade Master, we wouldn't have Raiders here, right? It would be Grunt Shaman. It'd be Grunt Shaman, and we'd still be trying to creep the Shadowhunter up, but this camp would be a lot harder because with Raiders we could just pull big creep camps and we could just ensnare and focus them. So Raiders actually make the creeping a lot easier on top of the Farseer already making the creeping a lot easier. So that's the cool thing about having Raiders, whereas obviously we don't go for a Bestiary if we're playing standard Blade Shadow Grunt Shaman until our expansion's up, you know?
A player's forces are under attack.
Both first heroes are just buying space for their second heroes. And War Mill and more Raiders, more Shamans are going to come out soon. So far, let's go over what the game plan of Focus has been so far. His Farseer came out. He teched. It's very simple, right? It's very simple, which I love. I love things that are simple, right? They fit in my brain. He came out, his Farseer crept level 3 as fast as it possibly could. After he crept level 3 as fast as he possibly could, he sent all of his grunts. The grunts just AFK'd in the base because they were no longer safe because we allow the Keeper to get level 3 when we allow ourselves to get level 3. The Farseer ran across the map on his own, started pressuring the Ancient War and the Archers to delay the creeping of the second hero if possible. When our Shadowhunter came out, we just power crept our Shadowhunter to level 3. Made possible by the time our first Shaman was out, we have Purge and we could deal with the level 2 Entangle, but, you know, we have to play a little bit safe until that first and second Shaman are out, of course. But when our Shadowhunter is out, we just power creep the Shadowhunter to level 3. Pretty simple. This is how Focus plays a lot of the time with Farseer. He just gets level 3/3. Grunt Raider Shaman. Simple. Simple. Ooh, I sped up.
Are under attack.
Farseer's continuing to buy space. Continuing to buy space. Shadowhunter's just creeping. And when the Shadowhunter hits level 3, although this is going to end up being a poor expansion timing, when the Shadowhunter hits level 3, similar to how we do it with Blade Shadow, a lot of the time in fact, expansion is going to come up. And also because we're up against Panda, we're going to see a high priority on getting heal scrolls and not fighting without double heal scroll. We'll talk more about that. TP is going to be forced, but a lot of space has been bought for the TP. But I said this is a poor expansion timing. Like, I don't think Lyn would have expanded like that, for instance. That was a bit of a mistake. But still, the timing, that is the standard timing that you would like to expand, if you're able to. And just lots of Raiders and Shamans. Look, he's literally going to have 4 Raiders. Why? Because, obviously, Archers would be weak against Chain Lightning and Wolves. And he's got he's going to have a lot of Dryads for this reason. Raiders are decent against Dryads, as are the Serpent Wards. And if ever we're not in a position to win a fight, we can just hit the base. We just hit the base. That's an option we don't have, again, with standard Blade play. We don't have Raiders. Raiders give us a lot of variability for what we can do on the map, which is dope. Expansion yet again comes up. This time, better time. And now what Focus is going to do, all the while he's building this expansion, he's just going to try to control the map. He's just going to try to control the map to buy enough time, 2.5 minutes, to get this Great Hall up. This is very similar to how we see Orc players try to secure their expansion against Human nowadays. They just try to control the map, threaten creepjacks, threaten fights, but never actually directly take fights until the expansion is safe and secure. Because if we take a fight too early, before our expansion is safe, and by safe I mean uncancelable, what happens if we lose that fight? Then our opponent just runs across the map and cancels it. So we need to threaten our opponent without actually directly engaging. Right? We need to make it seem like we're going to fight. And what helps in this situation for Focus is the fact he has a bunch of Raiders. So we can not only threaten our opponent through creepjacks, we can not only threaten our opponent through, you know, maybe taking camps aggressively in his face and saying, I'm gonna creep this if you don't try to, you know, fight me for it. In an Irish accent. But we can also threaten run-bys into the main base, which is, you know, the best way to secure an expo, of course, because we have lots of Raiders. Woo!
A player's forces are under attack.
And just more and more raiders. Whole lot of raiders. This is going to be the 5th raider coming out. Whole lot of raiders. And see, he's just controlling the map right now. That's all he's doing, just controlling the map. Now, Colorful could run. He could be here and just cancel the expo. But then this Ancient War is going to die, and then Colorful's going to have to town portal and maybe loses like his Hunter's Hall. And, you know, Focus just runs away. And then he rebuilds the expansion, does it all over again. He's not fighting. Very important. He's not just running in because, you know, he would probably lose the fight, but also because he's got no reason. As long as he's controlling the map and not allowing his expansion to get canceled, even though his expansion's scouted right now, that's what's most important. Also, what's very important, because he's up against the Panda, but even in general, say we're up against the Demon Hunter 2nd, Stenosh Pine, thank you for the tier 1. Stenosh Pine. Stenosh Pine, thank you. He's not going to fight without double heal scroll. He's always going to have, at every stage in this game, he's going to have double heal scroll. Note, Colorful's broken upkeep. 2 more bears on the way. He's broken upkeep, getting ready to fight. And Focus could have broken upkeep, or he could have got double heal scroll. And he's always going to choose, double heal scroll over breaking upkeep in this game. He's always going to choose it. Why? Because he's up against the Panda. He's always going to choose double heal scroll. Still controlling the map, controlling the map. Still not directly engaging, but threatening a fight. This doesn't allow Colorful to creep, doesn't allow Colorful to expand, leave his base, or cancel this expansion. This is the same thing. He's saying, I'm going to creep this, you better creep jack me, and if he does get creep jacked, he would just run away. Look at the scouting as well. He scouts the middle of the map, and he's scouting the other path that Colorful could go down to maybe roundabout cancel the expansion. Now, he could also go this direction, but it's unlikely. And also, he would see him here unless he went all the way around, which would take so long, right?
A player's forces are under attack.
Oh, he's attacking his own Shadowrunner. Don't do that. I do that all the time as well. Expansion's almost safe. Who's Orc Lim? This is Focus. This is Focus. Again, threatening the creep jack, threatening the fight. Is the expansion up? Is it up? It's about to be. It's definitely uncancelable at this stage, and the peons are about to be mining. Look, expansion's up. Breaks upkeep immediately. He could even build a grunt right now. And then we're probably ready to fight. So, like, look, there was so many opportunities for Focus to take the fight, right? He could have fought. He could have fought here. He could have fought when Colorful chased him out of the base. I think there was a third opportunity somewhere in the middle of the map, right? But he's choosing. He could have maybe engaged directly here, but he's choosing now in a good position with double heal scroll after breaking upkeep and with the expansion being up uncancelable. Very careful with his selection of fights. Very, very careful. And this fight, no, he doesn't have to win the game right here. He doesn't have to win this fight. All he has to do is at least trade evenly. At least trade evenly. Even if he trades slightly unfavorably, as long as Colorful's army isn't hugely overwhelmingly large after this fight, he'll be totally fine. Why? Because his expansion is mining the entire time. So all he needs to do is somewhat trade evenly here, and he'll be absolutely fine. And importantly also, if he forces the Panda and the Keeper to use all their mana, if he has to go back and use Moonwells, Colorful, it's even better because that's more time for the expansion to be running. That is the important thing about this fight coming up. And watch how he engages in. Very, very good. Pre-positioning, being really smart about this fight, and then watch. Very sick positioning, right? So he's stacking wards. He's going to start stacking wards behind. Shaman's in the back, Kodo in the back, Grunt Raider in the front. He's going to eat a lot of Breaths of Fire. He's going to take a ton of damage from it, yeah. But he's got double heal scroll. One thing people also forget about sometimes, people sometimes try to put wards like here. But what we have to remember, guys, wards have 600 range. They're ridiculous. They are really good. 600 range. Now, that's more range than a Dryad. That's almost as much range as an Archer with the upgrade. These Archers don't have the upgrade. These wards outrange everything, except for the heroes, right? Oh, same range as a Keeper. What do you know? Same range as a Shadowhunter? Yeah, like all heroes have 600, I guess. What do you know? We're learning. Only 2 Shamans? Yes, only 2 Shamans. He's literally only using them for Purge. He's not using them for Lightning Shield or anything. Of course, Lightning Shield wouldn't be good against Dryads and Bears. What is Firelord's range? Is it 500? So Focus is putting the wards in the back so that they're not easily sniped by the Dryads and the Keeper. And he's also realizing these wards outrange everything in the army, so they're always going to be able to hit Dryads and stuff, you know? So he's putting them in the back, Grunt Raider in the front, Shaman, Kodo in the back, and he's just playing around the heal scrolls. And he's going to ensnare and focus the bears down one at a time, ignoring the Dryads for the time being. And then once the bears are dead, the Dryads are super easy to kill with wards and raiders. Very, very easy. Like, if this army is only Dryads, this fight's going to be a breeze for Focus. So he's getting rid of the bears early. Wow, it's that low? I didn't know that. And remember, we don't even have to win this fight overwhelmingly. We just have to trade evenly. So we've got 2, 3 bears. We started to lose some stuff. And note, Keeper's out of mana. The Panda has another staff, so he'll be back, but he's about to use all the Moonwells, right? But the Keeper's out of mana. Archer's starting to fall, and he's running into a Snake Pit right now as well. So yes, we've lost a lot. We used both heal scrolls. But we kill all the bears, and we're killing a bunch of Dryads, and the Panda almost out of mana, except for the greater mana. And behind this, let's take a look at the macro. Shaman, Kodo, Grunt behind it. After this, he'll get a Shaman, Raider, Grunt, continued cycles. And as long as we don't lose the fight like we lose everything and they lose nothing, it's going to be very difficult for us to lose the game with this expansion behind it. That's what he's playing around. The whole game revolves around the expansion being secured. Now, as we back away from the fight, what do we have to be thinking about? Now that the fight's over, what is the most important thing? I mentioned it earlier. What is something that Focus is always thinking about in this game? When he backs away from a fight, is he going to break upkeep with this 500 gold? Or is he going to buy double heal scroll? He's always going to buy double heal scroll, preparing for the next fight. He could break upkeep right now. He could panic break upkeep. Oh my god, I didn't kill enough in that fight. He's going to push and win the game. But he knows if he doesn't have double heal scroll, he's going to get absolutely destroyed. So he's going to immediately grab double heal scroll again. Boom, bang. And Colorful killed more there, probably. He probably killed more. I didn't get an exact count, but... Wouldn't need those heal scrolls if we played Undead and had a unit that heals everything at the same time? Oh, maybe fair. Look. Imagine if he didn't have double heal scroll. Imagine if he had, let's do a little bit of math here. If he had an extra Grunt, Kodo, Shaman, which is a little bit over 600 gold, but still, let's give him that extra benefit. If he had one extra unit, an extra Raider, Grunt, and Shaman, and had no heal scrolls, well, there's about to be a greater mana pop. He's going to do another Haze Fire, and before you know it, this Raider and all these Shamans are going to be red HP and dead. He's going to lose the fight. Always, always, always double heal scroll. Wisp detonated, but look, more mana items. These, again, are countering the Panda. Really good question. Two questions. One, what would be the strat if Colorful would have expanded way earlier? We're going to see that in the next replay. Two, wouldn't Focus be in a bad spot if Colorful used way more Treants in the fight with only 2 Shaman? That might have been true in this fight, yes, because he only had 2 Shamans. That could have been true. Maybe, you're right, but it's hard to know. But it's worth mentioning that he was also building Shamans behind it. So now he's got 4 Shamans, which are all out of mana except for these couple, but a lot of the time we'll see people just immediately purge all the Treants, which maybe he wouldn't have been able to do with 2 Shamans. Fair point. It's tough to say. What's the best army comp if Night Elf adds Mountain Giants? Is this a fine army against Mountain Giants? Because the thing about if Colorful were to add Mountain Giants, wouldn't Focus be on like a 10 supply advantage? Wouldn't it be on a 10 supply advantage? Yeah, I don't know. I certainly lose to Mountain Giants a lot. But if you can get rid of the Dryads, right? You can get rid of the Dryads with like running past the MGs and getting the ensnares on the Dryads and focus them down. So in this situation, you know, we got a couple of Dryads and a couple of Mountain Giants, whatever. So we run past, we focus down these Dryads, burn our double heal scroll because we're going to be running past the Panda. And then what we can do is we can actually use Wolves, out of mana right now, but we can actually use Wolves because of the Wisp Detonate that came in. We can use Wolves, which is really good against Mountain Giants, and we probably just go heavier on Grunts with some maybe upgrades for the Grunts, I would imagine. I don't think as a reaction to Mountain Giants we would go tier 3 here. I don't think we'd see that from Focus. But again, I don't know, because I didn't see any Night Elves really go Mountain Giants against this. And a lot of the time when they did try to go high-tech units, the Night Elves, for instance, there was one game where Laliat tried to go Mass Archers. He got destroyed with Mass Archers. The Farseer just killed everything. And then he tried to go tier 3 with Mass Archers and into double Chimera Roost. You could say that's about a similar timing to getting Mountain Giants, because you need to get the tier 3 upgrades. What Lin, or Focus did, one of the two, I think it was Focus, did to Laliat was he just pushed and killed him before he got Chimeras out. And he was dead before he ever got him out. But tough to say. Tough to say. Because I think the real problem playing against Mountain Giants... Sorry for keep pausing. The real problem playing against Mountain Giants is when the Night Elf gets, like, more than 3. If they have, like, 2 Mountain Giants, it's actually kind of easy to micro around them nowadays. It's when they get 3, 4, 5 Mountain Giants, which happens sometimes, that's when it becomes really obnoxious, because you can't micro around the taunt. You just can't. You cannot micro any longer unless you have 0 ping and you're a really good player. You just can't. But if they only have like 2 Mountain Giants, which in the time restraint that's put on Colorful this game, because of the expansion timing of Focus, he's only going to maximum have 2 Mountain Giants. He's never going to get to 3, 4, 5 Mountain Giants. And if he does, similar to in some situations, let's say human against Night Elf, the human gets like a crazy tier 3 Night Inner Fire army. Maybe we're just meant to lose if they get 5 Mountain Giants. Maybe that's just a win condition for Night Elf. Maybe. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes their army is just too strong. Again, we don't have to win this fight. We just have to trade evenly, and we have our expansion behind. And Colorful saves a few units, and he's still got the panda. He's got some more bears. And what does Focus do immediately after the fight? Well, these heal scrolls are on cooldown. Really good presence of mind. He runs down to the bottom shop to get them. And look at his gold. He's got 500 gold. If he needed to cancel... Whoa, look at that. If he wanted to cancel one of these grunts, he could. If he needed the gold, he could cancel both of them, and he would get double heal scroll. You can eat them with the Kodo upgrade or pre-resistant skin. Yeah, you can eat them, but like a good Night Elf's never going to allow you to eat their Mountain Giant before they have the upgrade, and more importantly, they're never going to allow that Kodo to digest the Mountain Giant all the way. Yeah, there does come a point, I think, with MGs, like you're quoting Grubby there, saying when it gets to a point you can't win. I think that's true with Mountain Giants. If they get 6 Mountain Giants and try Hero with triple orb, you might just lose. You might just lose. That'll happen. So now we got double heal scroll again. And we're starting to finally pull ahead in supply because the expansion is finally cooking and mining away. How much have we mined? It was 1150 or is it 12? Yeah, 12. So we've gotten 2.2k off the expansion. It's starting to pay off. And the panda is still owning us, which is why we always have double heal scroll. There hasn't been a single... There's been 3 big fights in this game, and there's been 6 heal scrolls purchased in this game. If Focus had fought without heal scrolls in one of those fights, maybe not this one, the first 2, he would have just lost the game. Heal wave. And just pulling ahead. And behind this, just raiders, grunts. He's got enough shamans at this point. He's got 4 shamans. He doesn't want to really go above that many. Maybe 5 could be argued, but you don't want 6, 7 shamans. You never want that many. And GG. So that's the most standard way we see people play Farseer against Night Elf. That's the most standard way. So what are some of the... Like, this was the reason I showed this replay first is not because it was the most perfect game from either side. Focus played really, really well. Hey, Zazu TV, thank you for the sub. Appreciate you. I do think Focus played really well. I don't think Colorful played perfectly by any regards. I think he was a little bit scared at times, which is what ended up costing him the game. He was kind of slow in a couple regards. But it was a very simple game from Focus's perspective. So he literally just... He... 1 burrow, no shop tech. Right? 1 burrow, he went grunts. As quick of a tech as you can get where you're still actually able to creep. Right? And then he crept level 3. Creep, level 3, FS. And then grunts, go to your base. And then FS, harass. Right? Sub SNS, how you doing? Let's do it like this, actually, because this is one step. The grunts go back home, and the Farseer goes to harass. And then after that, when your Shadowhunter comes out, and your grunts are still safely in the base, your Shadowhunter creeps level 3. And you just pump Raider Shaman behind this. You still have 3 grunts, you pump raiders. Remember, he had 5 raiders, so his army ended up being at 50 supply. 3 grunts, 5 raiders, 2 shaman, and 2 heroes. Does that work out supply-wise? So 12, 22, 37, 41, 50. That's exactly 50 supply. Yeah, so that's his 50 supply army. Is 3 grunts, 2 shaman, 5 raiders, 2 heroes, 12 peons. Check me on my math. Cash me outside. So that's his 50 supply army. He creeps his Shadowhunter to level 3, and what does he do as soon as his Shadowhunter hits level 3? He expands. He expos after SH level 3. And yes, it got canceled the first time because that expo was kind of rough. Remember, he had to town portal out, and he expoed as he got forced to town portal out on the Farseer. But generally speaking, once your Shadowhunter gets level 3, you want to consolidate your army, get your Farseer meet up with your Shadowhunter, get all your army together, get an aggressive position on the map. Remember, we want to control the map. We want to threaten creepjacks, we want to threaten run-bys in the base, we want to threaten fights, but we never want to directly take the fights. And behind this, we're going to expand. Right? That's how we get our expansion. And we just delay we never fight. We just never fight. And this is becoming more and more common for Orc players. They're getting a lot better at it. They just don't fight. Just run around the map. You have speed scrolls. Your army is generally very, very fast, especially if you have a TC. But your raiders are very, very fast. Wolves are fast. You have speed scrolls. You know, you just run around the map. Oh, also, sorry, Kevin, I missed your host. Thanks for the host, dude. 4 minutes ago. Appreciate you. Just don't fight. Literally, what Focus did is he ran around the map threatening to creepjack, threatening to fight, threatening to do run-by into the base with the 5 raiders that he had. But he never fought for 2.5 minutes. Then once the Great Hall got up, he purchased double heal scroll to counter the panda. He had a very strong positioning. He broke upkeep, and then he took a fight. So he did 3 things. He got the heal scrolls that he needed. He broke upkeep. And he got a really good positioning where he was comfortable taking the fight. He took the fight, and he didn't win the fight for free. Right? It's not like this was a timing that he needed to win the game at. All he needed to do, remember, was trade relatively evenly. And in fact, Colorful even killed more than Focus did. Colorful killed all the grunts, all the raiders almost. It was down to like 2 shamans and a Kodo and more units reinforcing. And Colorful had like, 4 dryads and a bear left. Right? So Focus even lost more, and he burned 2 heal scrolls. But what was important is, Colorful didn't have a strong enough army, enough mana on his heroes or health on his heroes to just push and break the expansion. He had to go back and consolidate himself, and then repush. And in that time, the expansion's still mining. In that time, Focus grabs another 2 heal scrolls, and he reproduces off 3 production buildings. Grunt, Raider, Shaman, Grunt, Raider, Shaman, Kodo, Grunt, Shaman. And the cycle repeats. And then over time, we get a 10 supply advantage, and that's how we win the game. That's what happened in pretty, not too difficult overall. I mean, well, it's difficult, but not too complicated, let's say, overall, what Focus did there. And that is the most standard way. That's how Focus generally plays this strategy against Night Elf. Now, what do we want to watch next? What replay do we want to watch next? Let's take a 2-minute break. I'm going to figure out what replay we're going to watch, okay? We'll be right back. All right, we're back. I figured out what replay we're gonna do. So there was one question. Isn't he winning because the moon juice gets too low? Now I could say that, and that would be like a, an elegant way for Focus to win. But the truth is, Colorful had Rejuve. He had bears. The moon juice isn't as important. It is important for the panda to be able to double staff out, staff for preservation away from the fight, heal up the Moonwells, staff in with full mana, full health. That's really good. But truth be told, Colorful can fight continuously because he's got bears. It's going to be from Orc perspective or both. Mostly just the Orc's perspective. Yeah, and Lin versus 15 Sui from this morning. There was actually one game of Lin playing Farseer. He did it on Tidehunters, but the replays aren't released yet. I'll try to get them, and we'll try to do an episode on maybe the AWL games. Okay, so this next game is going to be Moon versus Focus on Concealed Hill. So a different map and a different Night Elf opponent. And Moon is, of course, just a god, right? So Moon is really good. He's going to do probably what you should do against Farseer, and he's going to know how to do it really well. Because Moon is just ridiculously good. He's just absurd. He's absurdly good. And we're going to see that. Moon is going to make a couple of plays this game that's going to put Focus in an awful position going into tier 2. But Focus is still going to make it work. But so we're going to see Focus do a very similar strategy to what happened on Autumn Leaves, but with some adversity. And also there was a question earlier in the chat about what if the Night Elf gets an expansion up and then you're playing 2-base or against the Night Elf on 2-base. Well, Moon is going to get an expansion up this game, and we'll see how it plays out. Right, so we're going to see. We're going to see. Oh. Okay, we're good. Here we go. Replay number 2. Focus versus Moon Concealed Hill. So here's Focus in the bottom left. Upper right, here's Mr. Moon, the GOAT. God, Moon's good. Moon is so goddamn good at this game. It's ridiculous. Okay. Gonna be Farseer again. Gonna be Keeper again. Moon always prefers Keeper Demon Hunter over Keeper Panda. Most of the time, at least. So he's gonna end up going Keeper Demon Hunter this game. Look at that Wisp control, yeah. And again, just like I said, Focus most of the time does the same build against Night Elf with Farseer. And I think his build is really good. Really good. So it's going to be, again, Farseer, Grunt. I'm trying to remember if he skips shop or not this game. I think he does skip the shop. And he's going to start off the game by just creeping. It's worth noting, though, that also Concealed Hill is a much more difficult map to creep level 3 on. That's why we don't see a lot of Warden on this map, for instance. It's possible to creep level 3, right? Like you can creep this, and you can creep this. Then maybe you can creep the shop, right? And then maybe this. But it's tricky. It's tricky to creep level 3 for both players right off the hop. More tricky, at least, than Autumn Leaves is, or Tidehunters is, or Northern Isles is. By the way, that was the map I forgot about earlier, and no Trapper.
A player's forces are under attack.
So, all is standard in Moon World. And Focus is going to skip a shop again. So yeah, just 3 buildings. That's it. 3 buildings. And 7 lumber peons, of course. Again, remember what we were talking about. Try to not get ensnared and keep this Troll Trapper alive. So then if the Wisp comes in, it gets ensnared by the Troll Trapper and he can't detonate your wolves, right? That's the idea here. But he's going to get ensnared. So now the Wisp can come in. See? See how this works out? And look at this money detonate.
Players' forces are under attack.
What would be the weakness of this build? You mean the skipping the shop and 1 burrow teching with grunts? The weakness of this build? Maybe against like super aggro play. There's some situations where maybe like it's common for the Night Elf to grab the item here with either a Keeper or a Demon Hunter and run straight down. And then maybe they can cancel your second burrow. Maybe they cancel your shop. In this situation, because the wolves both got detonated, Focus is actually going to take a lot of damage on both his Farseer and his Grunt, which he otherwise wouldn't if he didn't get detonated here. So maybe against very aggro play from Moon, grabs the item, runs straight down here. Like with a Demon Hunter, he could grab Circlet and then pressure the second burrow and pressure the creeping. With Keeper, he could use Treants and cancel the second burrow. That's something. Or the shop. He could cancel the shop. I'm not sure how the timing would work out on the burrow. I think he would be able to cancel the burrow. So that would be the weakness. But these players have so much respect for each other that they don't normally play overly aggressive like that. But it's not unheard of course. Sometimes it's done. See, look how much value this single Wisp got. Look at all the damage taken. Look at this. So now, for instance, if Focus wanted to, like, creep the shop with, you know, all the health he had, he's not going to be able to. So he's going to change up his creep route, or maybe not, but he's going to run up and try to creep this. Moon's going to go for the Hunter's Hall, which is the standard way to play against Blade. So he's not switching too much up, knowing it's a Farseer. He's still going to go for an early Hunter's Hall. And remember, just second burrow. Shop. When this burrow's done, we'll have another Grunt coming out. Gets level 2. And then Moon creep jacks. So Focus kind of unable this game to power creep level 3 because of the Wisp detonate. And then because he was getting pressured by the level 2 Keeper now, so he's kind of unable to just power creep. So he's going to pressure on level 2 instead of level 3. But everything else pretty much remains the same. The Grunts go back. These Grunts are going to chill in the base. And he's going to start pressuring the Archers. And if there's an expansion coming up right now, he could probably cancel it. He has Chain Lightning, so these Wisps could actually... Like, if Moon wasn't so good, and he had, like, a few Wisps maybe out of position or something, Focus could come in and probably Chain Lightning and get, like, 2 or 3 Wisp kills. But Moon is really good, and again, Focus is respecting how good Moon is. He's not going to go for the Chain Lightning, even though he probably could kill some Wisps with it. He's also got to respect the fact that Moon might just surround him in here and he'll get stuck. He's going to scout the tree. It would be canceled if there was a tree being constructed right now. And the Grunt's going to heal up over here. The other Grunts are chilling. Which maybe you could argue, oh, the Grunts could be creeping this or something, or this, but it is risky after all. Buys Dust. Nice little play there. Unlucky ensnare, I will say. Could have ensnared the Huntress, but it goes for the Archer, and that'll be a free kill. And Moon now going for Huntresses. And look at this timing from Moon. As soon as the Farseer starts to run away, he puts up the expansion. Unbelievable. Now, if Focus had crazy Star Sense, he would just run straight back up there. But look, both the Wolves are ensnared. He just used it. It's another 15 seconds on the cooldown. And Moon's here with Entangle and full mana and a Huntress. So this Expo is actually, he can't really cancel it any longer because of the timing Moon chose. Super sick. And also, Focus, remember, just cleared this as well. So he doesn't know. He doesn't know there's an Expo coming up right after he just checked it. But still, nothing changes. Shadowhunter, Spirit Lodge, Bestiary. Focus is still going to try to get level 3 Farseer. He's going to do a little bit of evasion creeping. And this is something that would be pretty difficult for a Blade to creep unless he had, like, illusions or something. But with the Farseer, it's much more easy. The Wolf now scouts the tree.
A player's forces are under attack.
But he's already kind of committed to creep this. So he decides, I'm not going to run over there right away. I'm just going to creep to level 3. Moon's going to make a really nice play here as well. But regardless of all these nice plays that Moon's making, the expansion timing, the Wisp detonate, the play he's about to make, the 2 plays he's about to make, the plan for Focus is not changing, right? He's still trying to get level 3. He's still going to the same unit composition. He's still going to go for a very similar expansion timing, right? Moon has Ultra Vision, by the way, right? So he is the he's Michael Myers right now, lurking in the shadows. this is going to be level 3 Farseer. But Moon is just ridiculously good. Just absurd. Just absurd. And he gets to surround. Like, and Focus had no idea because of Ultra Vision. He had no idea this was going to happen. Incredible. Focus goes Hex to deny the experience on the Keeper. He'll still go for wards, though, just because he went for Hex. He'll still go for wards, just no heal wave this time. And then what does Moon do? So Focus realizes he scouted the tree earlier. So knowing the Keeper and the Huntresses were down here, he decided, okay, you can have my Shadow Hunter, but I'll run up and I'll kill your tree with 3 grunts and my wolves. But Moon town portals back home to defend the tree after killing the Shadow Hunter. He's going for lures, by the way, just like Colorful did last game. And then Focus just has to town portal now. So a lot of things went Moon's way, but still nothing will change for Focus. He got level 3. Now he's going to try to get Shadowhunter level 3. He's still going to go into the same army composition from last game. He's got brute strength, of course. Let me see this question. Since the first set of wolves got detonated, didn't that force him to stand on the left side of the map? What I'm trying to say is that he didn't bother to scout cancel the expansion from the beginning of the game. I think well, if Moon went for an immediate expansion and Focus was able to creep level 3, maybe he can't stop the expansion, yeah. But, I mean, he kind of did try to cancel the expansion, because remember, he scouted this with the Farseer, but then as soon as Moon saw him scout this and then start to run away, then Moon put up the expansion. So Moon just did a really good job with the timing of this expansion. It was just very, very well done.
A player's forces are under attack.
And Moon's very good at that. Moon's very good at guaranteeing his expansion. Even if it's a little bit late sometimes, he's very good at guaranteeing it. Wolves go up to try to just slow down if the expansion was being crept. Demon Hunter second by Moon. That's a stylistic choice. And the Shadow Hunter, as expected, just going to try to power creep to level 3.
A player's forces are under attack.
And the wolves have scouted everything, right? So we're chilling right now. The Farseer is here just to be out of range. I'm not exactly sure why he's sitting here. Like, if he didn't know that where the Keeper was, you could say he's kind of scouting this side, and the peon is scouting this side, so he can't really get creep jacked. But Focus knows he's not going to get creep jacked because of the wolves. But he also knows Moon doesn't have a TP. But, you know, yeah. Had he not had that information, that would make sense why his Farseer is here.
The player's forces are under attack.
And an earlier counter expansion for a few reasons. One, Moon expanded. If Moon was playing one base, Focus probably would have waited for Shadow 3 before expanding to be safer. 2, he knows Moon has no town portal. So there's no way Moon could just run straight cross map and cancel it when there's going to be raiders with Ensnare and Purge and all that, and Hex. He can't do that right now. He's got to stay defensive. And 3, what was the third one? Oh, 3, he scouted where the Keeper already was, so he can go for the earlier expansion. A bit more greedy.
Forces are under attack.
Little bit of a forgotten burrow, I'll say, but oh no, not actually forgotten about, because he'll build one more raider, and by the time that raider's done, he'll have another burrow up. So actually the macro is perfect for Focus. Forgive me. Forgive me. Farseer just doing scouting to keep his Shadow Hunter safe. Just like last game, he was roaming around the middle of Autumn Leaves. The whole reason being to just keep your hero safe that's creeping. Now, Focus buys a protection scroll. I don't know if he needed to do that. Maybe he tried to get a heal scroll and misclicked. I think a heal scroll would have been better. But heal scrolls aren't as essential this game because he's not up against a panda, right? In fact, against a Demon Hunter, you could argue more units is better than having heal scrolls. See, he even, like, uses the protection scroll, which is a bit weird, champ. Oh, I think he actually misclicked, because he wanted to use an illusion, and he popped the protection scroll. That's what happened. That's what happened. So, a mistake. Double one of mana stealing as well. And then Focus is going to push. Again, Focus isn't expecting to win the game here, or even maybe win the fight. What he's expecting to do is make enough space for his expansion. Because let's think about this. If Moon tried to run down with his army and cancel his expansion, yes, he would be able to cancel it. By the way, he built an AP here as well. Yes, he would be able to cancel it, but how many Raiders do we have? 1, 2. That's more than enough already, but it looks like he has 5, but he's got 2, and he's got a third on the way. So Moon, yeah, he can run down and cancel this, but then Moon loses his Tree of Life 100%. Because there's Hex, there's 3 Raiders with Ensnare, he just loses his Expo. So now we're trading an Expo cancel for an actual Tree of Life and all the Wisps. Another thing that Raiders help you with. So now Moon has to allow this expansion to come up. He has to. Unless he were to split off like some Dryads and his Keeper with a staff or something, he would have to do some crazy fancy play to ever be able to cancel this at this stage.
A town is
so that's why Focus is pushing. And behind this, just more units coming out. More Raiders coming out. Let's see what the army is right now, because he's at 49 supply when I think he should be at 50 even. Ah, he's building a 3rd Shaman instead of a 5th Raider this game. So he's getting, to answer the question on Autumn Leaves, he's getting a 3rd Shaman. He's getting a 3rd Shaman to deal with what could be lots of Treants. That'll help against it. Whereas last game he went for 5 Raiders and only 2 Shamans. Again, defensive wards, Grunt Raider at the front. Moon should definitely be getting rid of these wolves. But look how long the range is on the wards. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And this AP's up. It's going to be a little bit annoying, but it won't be enough to cancel the Expo. And this is showing why Raiders are actually really, really good. Better than just mass grunts, obviously. Lots of Raiders, quite good. The AP here is a bit annoying. How Focus could react to this is he could always send like a set of wolves all the way down, and then maybe rally this Raider there with the wolves, and he could clean it up. I don't think a solo Raider would solo an AP. That you would be able to figure out the math for that. You would just be able to test it. But if he sent down wolves, they would almost be expired by the time they got here, but they do enough damage that this Raider would clean up this AP. That's one way he could do it. It's one way. And Moon has to keep fighting or else he loses the tree. He's got to keep fighting. And this whole time, when he's pressuring the tree, he's not allowing Moon to mine. So it's just like Autumn Leaves all over again. He is mining, you know, although there's an AP. He's mining and Moon has to repair the tree, so it's in fact 2 base against 1 right now. So as long as he trades evenly, it's all fine. And the great thing about this sort of a timed push is that if Moon hadn't gone Mass Dryads, and in fact he went for the fast expansion, Weezer DK, thank you for the 9 months. What's up? If he had gone for the fast expansion and tried to get bears like Colorful, Moon would have never had enough stuff by the time Focus pushed this expansion to even try to hold the Expo. He would have just lost it. So Moon, he can either go for this expansion and defend with Dryads, which the army Focus has already built, Raiders, Mass Serpent Wards, is really good against Mass Dryads, or he can not go for the expansion and go for Bears, and then we're in a position like we were in last game, where where Focus just threatens the base attack, threatens the creep jack, threatens the fight, and gets the expansion up essentially for free, and then wins economically. So Moon is pigeonholed into going Dryads, which is just a poor army against this, which is what we're seeing right now. The Serpent Wards are owning everything. And the Raiders help a lot as well. The Raiders make this all possible. If it were just Grunt Shaman, it wouldn't work at all. And this AP is still being very annoying, but it needs to be moved into range a bit closer now. Both players could have done this a little bit better, right? Focus could have defended it a bit, Moon could have used it a bit better. Both players messed it up a tiny bit there. I mean, what do you expect? What do you expect? I guess I do expect perfect play from them, but, you know, whatever. And just reinforcing with Grunt Raider. See, notice the macro as well. This is what's so cool. Like, Grunts are nice because if he doesn't have a ton of lumber, because he's got to transfer some of my peons to mine off here, and he doesn't want to build more. But he's got 3 shamans, maximum 4, and then he's not overproducing shamans. So many orc players would just keep, myself included, would keep building shamans while microing up here. But Focus realizes when he has enough shamans, he's got 3 now, he doesn't need much more, and he's just only pumping Grunt Raider behind this consistently. And Grunts are only gold, Raiders only cost 30 lumber, 40 lumber? So 30 or 40, I think it's 30. So he can always just mass produce here. Because if he had kept producing shamans, he would have like 7 shamans right now, 8 shamans, which isn't necessary at all. They can't even attack the Dryads. The shamans are literally only for the entangle and the treants. That's it. That's all they're there for. Focus runs out of mana, but he's definitely won this fight, so he's going to run back and he's going to finally deal with this AP. And what's the difference in gold mined? Focus has ended up mining a few hundred more, but his expo was a lot later, remember, as well. And just continuing to pump Grunt Raider. And Moon could go tier 3, but again, it would take a long time. And by that time, Focus is just going to be pushing again with a supply advantage. And he's already got a supply advantage.
Players' forces are under attack.
He's getting a War Mill just for a single Kodo, but he could also just keep building Grunt Raider. And 4 shamans, and that's probably what he's going to cap out at, 4 shamans. It's honestly kind of a fun army. Just lots of Grunts, lots of Raiders. It's a really fun army. Moon does the absolute best play right now. He's getting the red camp. Now, he could get Creep Jack. That would be a disaster, but he's very behind because he lost so much in that last fight. He needs to do something. His Ancient War was already in position. He's going to snag the red camp. A really, really good play. And he's not going to get punished, I don't think. Oh, he will get punished. But still, a good play, right? Lots of experience. He almost gets Keeper level 5. Yeah, Moon's still just pumping Dryads, but look at our army and look at his. And this is what becomes the downside of trying to fast expo against this sort of a strat, is you can't go with a mass expo or with a fast expo. What you would normally do is go into Huntresses and then Archers. And of course the Archers don't work against the Farseer. We've already talked about that. Farseer absolutely destroys Archers. And Mass Dryads aren't very strong against Raider Shadowhunter. So they kind of have to go Bears, but they can't go Bears with an Expo. So you're, again, back to my first point, why Farseer works against Night Elf, is you limit their options more so than with Blade Master. And archers certainly don't work against level 5 Farseer. That's for sure. As though they didn't work against 3, they definitely don't work against 5. Could even retrain to heal wave now. Wouldn't be surprised if he did that. So really, he's not going to retrain. Not even buying a heal scroll. Doesn't even care. And now the burrow, which is going to secure the expo against run buys. Didn't understand the part where they can't go bears. The issue with going bears... is, yes, you can go bears if you don't expand. But if you do expand, and you go bears, now you're expanding and trying to go tier 3, so you're very limited on units. In that time, like, this push that Focus did, imagine if Focus did this push earlier, the one that happened like 5 minutes ago, when he initially attacked the expansion. The only difference with Moon went tier 3 and was going bears instead of just pumping dryads the whole time. Moon would have just died before he ever got Master Bear training. And even if he had Master Bear training, he would have had like 2 bears, and he would have had way less dryads. So if he wants to expand and go tier 3, Focus with the timing that he did is probably just going to kill him. Because remember, he almost killed him when Mood stayed on tier 2 to try to hold the expo. He almost won the fight still there. He only had to back away when he ran out of mana and when he had to go deal with the AP. So that's the downside of going bears and expanding. And the downside of going bears and not expanding is then what happens on Autumn Leaves happens. Don't you think that AP on Orcs Expo should be defensive on Elves Expo? It could be argued, but the thing is, Focus goes so Raider heavy that honestly an AP and an Ancient War here isn't even that useful. Because he builds 5, 6 Raiders. Look how many he's got right now. Which is, you know, he's obviously already winning this game. But his initial push, he had 4 Raiders. But it might have been better. Sure, it could have been better. And I also think this AP down here could have been used better by Moon as well. He could have been more attentive and killed a lot more peons with it. And Focus also could have dealt with it better. Like I said, he could have rallied the Raider from the Bestiary and sent Wolves down to deal with the AP. So that AP was a question mark all around, I think, this game. And yeah, obviously Focus is just winning right here. 20 supply advantage. Massive hero levels. What's up, Bro Rush? How's it going, man? And what should Elf do in that situation? That's the cool thing about Farseer, is it's played so rarely compared to Blade Master. We were talking earlier, Farseer's probably played about 25% of the time, and Blade's played about 75% of the time. It's played so rarely that I don't know what the best thing against Farseer is for Night Elf. Now, there probably is a lot of good things to do against Farseer. I've seen people play Warden. I've seen people play Demon Hunter, Mass Archers, but not Mass Archers in like a macro sense. Mass Archers in terms of like you constantly pressure. You don't allow the Farseer to ever get past level 1, and you constantly pressure him with Demon Hunter, Mass Archers. I've seen that work. There's probably some really good ways to punish Farseer, but the issue is there a good way to punish Farseer with Keeper first? Because that's what these Night Elves are doing. That's what Moon and Colorful and Laliat and Sini and whoever else is doing. And Alice, they're doing, and Foggy, they're doing Keeper on every map other than Last Refuge. So you have to find a good way to deal with Farseer with a Keeper. And DH and Warden are both very good against Farseer. But is there a perfect solution with Keeper? There might be, but I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to watch all the replays where the Orcs lose. Sometimes Orcs do Farseer with Headhunters. I haven't seen that a lot from these top Orcs. A couple of games I have. But it's mostly been Farseer Grunts from what I've seen. Alright, I guess we'll do one more replay. And of course that game was pretty much a carbon copy of the first game. The only difference was Moon went for the expansion, so we got to see how that plays out. And Moon also played very, very well, but still Focus won. And, yeah, our last game, we'll watch a Lin game. And this game is going to be a different strategy altogether. It's going to be Farseer, but Lynn's going to do... I just wanted to watch this for fun. I would say if you want to really practice something, playing Farseer against Elf, I'd recommend this focus style that we just watched and try to get that down, because that, I think, is the best, most consistent way from the strategies I've seen. But this strat is just kind of a funny strategy Lynn did against 15 Sui. 15 Sway? Is it 15? Yeah, 15 Sway. So we're going to watch it. It's a fun strat. Let's see how it goes. Here's the last replay for the day. And we get to see a Lynn game. And this is how Lynn differs from Focus. Focus does a lot of the same strat. Lynn does a different strat almost every game when it comes to Farseer. What's up, Poggy? How you doing? So this is going to be a crazy strat. Here's Lynn in the upper left, and here's 15 Sway. What if we went for mass hunts? The Shadow Hunter kind of wrecks it a little bit. But I imagine then, if he went for mass hunts, maybe then... Nah, I think you'd just still go for the same strat if your opponent went mass hunts, honestly. Yeah, you might. You might get like a Kodo before you get your Raiders. You maybe would get like a War Mill. Yeah, like, I imagine if Focus was against mass hunts, he would probably still do the same strat. What's up, Damius? Alright, I'm gonna have a sip of water, and then we'll talk about what Focus, or what Lynn, rather, is doing here. Alright. What's with the overlay? I use War 3 Booster for this show. I don't use the Back to Warcraft overlay. Legendary Ravendrenner used one grunt into Headhunter versus Alex Chen. Could be good. Could be good, because you can creep and then go into Headhunters eventually.
A player's forces are under attack.
But still, it's going to be, like we've seen in the other series, or the other maps, it's going to be one burrow Farseer grunt opener, one burrow tech without a shop. It'll be Keeper again. Just tuned in. Who are the players? This is Lynn, and this is 15 Sway. Lynn versus 15 Sway. And, you know, Lynn and Focus differ a lot. They also differ in creep routes a lot.
A player's forces are under attack.
And Lynn, of course, is being a little bit aggressive. But what Focus would probably be doing right now, in fact, I could tell you what Focus has done against 15 Sway on this map with Farseer. He creeps this, and then he creeps this, and then he creeps this. That's how Focus plays. Whereas Lynn, a much different style of Farseer, aggro right away. This has the upside of keeping the Keeper on level 1. That's nice. We'll see how he follows it up, though.
A player's forces are under attack.
And tech, second burrow, shop, just like Focus before. Lynn does a little bit of pressure and then falls back, and this is interesting that he does this. I don't know if this is the right move, but he's creeping. He takes a lot of damage. What this does that's kind of nice is it has the possibility of denying the Keeper level 2. But I think this turtle will give him level 2 still. It should. No, it doesn't. So this actually does deny him level 2 unless he were to creep this. Now. So I suppose that's why Lynn did that, to keep the Keeper further on level 1. For as long as he can. But if he allows him to get either of these turtles or a wolf, he'll be level 2. But we're seeing how good wolves and grunts are against archers. You can't really fight the Farseer early on. And he's just pressuring the archers, not allowing the Keeper to creep. Behind this, all standard, no War Mill, nothing yet, right? Some more grunts should be coming out soon. And 15 Sway, I actually want to see exactly when he put this tree down. so I can better describe why he did it. Because this is similar to what Moon was going for last game. This is a very similar expansion timing to what Moon did. So let's see exactly when he put it down. Yeah, I think this is a mistake. Yeah, this is a bad timing. Now, had he put it down when Lin had, like, pulled this camp, then I would say maybe, sure, it's all right. But the fact that Lin's, like, running at him and chasing his archers, I think this is a bad expo timing. Whereas Moon's expo timing last game was like, perfect. I don't think this is good from 15 Sway. And he's going to get punished for it here. It's incredibly difficult for the average Joe, though. One wolf is enough to give the keeper level 2 dangerous. Yes, which is why we just watched the 2 focus games, which is much simpler for the average Joe. Because all focus did is he just let the keeper get level 3, and he got level 3 himself. Whereas Lin does a more complicated, difficult, sort of nuanced Farseer play. And behind this, let's see. Look what he does. Look what he does. You guys ready? What do you think? What do you think Lin's gonna do right now? What do you think he's gonna build? What is he going for? Blade Master second. No, he's not gonna go Blade Master second. Yeah, like that expo was really bad from 15 Sway. This is by no means a great game from 15 Sway. Bestiary Totem, Pure Torrens, Triple Lodge, 3 Burrows, Tier 3. Semruel, my man. Let's see. Yeah, no one. You guys have probably never seen this strat before that he's doing this game.
Player's forces are under attack.
Naga second, immediate tier 3 tech. So he's got. What does he have? 2 grunts. Is it just 2 grunts? 1, 2. Yeah, 2 grunts, immediate tier 3 tech. He could have afforded a 3rd grunt, but not if he needed to buy salves at any point. He gets the last hit with a grunt as well. Like I said, it's just a fun replay, right? It's not like we're not all able to do this. The Farseer, the keeper's still level 1. Kills an archer with a Naga. He has dust, by the way. He bought it earlier. The keeper's still level 1. And this is obviously what Lin was trying to do. This is why he killed that turtle earlier. This is why he's continuing to pressure. He was very focused on not giving any wolves and getting last hits here. And the keeper's still level 1.
A player's forces are under attack.
So we need a strat to solve the 28% win rate. And now, okay, now that he's gone tier 3, after he goes tier 3, Spirit Lodge, War Mill, Burrow. He's got 2 grunts. These are his 3 things after he techs. Did he get brute strength? He did not get brute strength. Is he? No, he's not. So he's now going to go into some headhunters and some shamans with a Naga second. Okay, keeper, level 2. Woo! But even with entangled, there's nothing he can do here. Like, I will say, once the Naga's out, even if he has entangle, he's never going to be able to kill anything unless he's got level 2 entangle. Because the Naga and the wolves and the grunts is just too strong. So this strat isn't even dependent on denying the keeper from getting level 2. I think if he gets level 2, it's honestly fine. It was just a nice little play from Lin that he denied it for so long. Another archer killed, by the way. Beastmaster second. The reason why 15 Sway goes Beastmaster here, I think, is because he's expecting, he hasn't scouted the main to see the tier 3 tech. When you see Farseer Naga, ask any Night Elf player, quiz him. Pop quiz hotshot. If you see a Farseer first, and then you see a Naga at tier 2, what are you thinking? Yeah, you're thinking you're getting tower rushed. 100%. There's no way you're thinking, oh, he's going tier 3 and he's going into late game. Because he is going to try to go into the late game with this. Tower panic kicks in. Absolutely. A great way to put it. Great way to put it. So, yeah, you start to play very defensively. Beastmaster, in this case, is actually quite a good hero, considering. I would say Beastmaster or Panda would both be very, very good. Naga, you could ask, why wouldn't he go Naga? I think getting a Naga versus another Naga and like wolves and grunts, I feel like that would be a situation where they would just both slow each other, and 15 Sway would end up being the one losing his Naga. But yeah, probably a Panda or a Beastmaster might be the two best heroes against a Tower Rush.
Players' forces are under attack.
Maybe a Naga would force the TP here, sure. But he's already got Tangle to do that, you know. What I'm saying is that the Beastmaster isn't a terrible choice. Maybe not the best, but I don't think it's a terrible choice. Because he doesn't realize there's a bunch of shamans coming out. He could have. He could have scouted this. He should have. He's Night Elf. Night Elf should, on paper, have the best scouting.
A player's forces are under attack.
And Lin just continues to pressure. This doesn't allow the Keeper to creep. It doesn't allow him to get an expansion up. And behind this, he's just going immediately to Tier 3. Headhunters and Shamans coming out once the War Mill's done. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. He's a little bit low, so he's got to go back. And of course, double lures and Tier 3 tech. The one base option that we saw from Colorful on Autumn Leaves. This is going to be Bears from 15 Sway. And Tier 3's done. Now, Tier 3 is done. He's going, of course, for... He's going, of course, for Berserker upgrade. He's, of course, going to eventually probably get Bloodlust, but I don't think Bloodlust is too important here. Berserker upgrade more so. Lin kind of expecting he's going to have to Town Portal eventually. He's just trying to push it to the brink. Really? Oh, the Grunts is going to go down. Alright, so now that Lin's Tier 3, what do you guys think he's going to do? What's his play? What's his play? What do you guys think? What's he going to do? What's his Tier 3 option? So he's going... This is Berserker upgrade, like I said, eventually. What does he do now? What does he do now that he's Tier 3? What's the play? What's the play, guys? What's the play? Does he still go for the Tower Rush? Bloodlust, Berserker, Shadowhunter 3rd. Tanker. Tiny. You guys are so right. You guys are so right. Yeah, he's literally going to get a Tinker, and he's going to Tiny Great Hall expand, like right now. He's going to do that like right now.
A player's forces are under attack.
Loses a Grunt. Has the TP. Like I said, he was just trying to push the fact that he had the TP to the brink, which he did do. And now watch this. Tiny immediately. Note, he had the perfect amount of gold to pretty much buy the Tiny right there with the salves. Oh, I'm getting texted. So, he's getting Adept. He got 2 Grunts, 1 Headhunter, Berserk. He got two Heroes. He got 1 Salve, 1 set of Salves. And he's got the perfect amount of gold pretty much when he hits Tier 3, close, 60 seconds after, to get the Tiny. He's going to go immediately for the Tiny.
Are under attack.
And then he's eventually going to get a Tinker as well. Look at that. Look at that. And more Headhunters coming out. And the cool thing about this is Lin is sort of countering the units as they come. So he goes 2 Grunts off the hop, which deals with the archers early on, which helps pressure the archers, which stops the Keeper from creeping. It also stops the possibility of an early expansion. So he gets the 2 Grunts and then the Naga to continue the pressure, which continues to stop the Keeper from creeping and the Night Elf from expanding and allows him to get his Tier 3. Once he gets Tier 3, he goes into Berserkers, which of course are the counter for Mass Dryads, which could be potentially used to try to bust this Tiny Great Hall. So he's already got the counter for the counter of the Tiny Great Hall.
A player's forces are under attack. And he's eventually going to get a Tinker, which is also really good against Mass Dryads.
Thanks, Sonic, for 200 bits. Appreciate you. And then bears will soon be out. But still, Lin knows these timings. Lin's really good. He knows bears aren't going to be out till about the 6th dot of the day the heal scrolls spawn. He's going to know that. That's the timing. That's how it goes. Maybe the 4th dot if you're really cooking. So he knows he's got some time to mine off this.
A player's forces are under attack.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. And there's the tanker. Is he getting bloodlust? Not yet, because he didn't have the lumber, of course. And now, this is looking kind of like autumn leaves, right? All Lin has to do is control the map. All he has to do, forehead, right? Is control the map. And if he does get into a fight, try to at least trade evenly. And over time, he will win. No matter what. He will win. He will have a supply advantage. So all he's got to do is control the map now. The downside of this army for Lin, which the Tinker helps a bit with, is he can't really trade bases. Like, for instance, if 15 Sway goes to attack his Tiny Great Hall, and Lin finds himself in a position where he's at 15 Sway's main base, he can't, like, threaten to kill the main like Focus could with Mass Raiders. That's probably the only downside, which makes controlling the map a lot more difficult. Oh my god, I'm getting a phone call. Which makes controlling the map a lot more difficult. So that is a downside, but Lin is super good at this game. He's super good, so he's going to be able to do that no problem. And he's going to buy enough space for his Tiny Great Hall. And just more Berserkers coming out. More Shamans. Probably after 3 or 4, then he'll get Bloodlust. But for now, he's getting some more. Hey, Zaka Zet with the 100 bits. He said, I couldn't get a hot tub streamer to take off her bikini with this, so here you go, cheer 100. We'll appreciate that. I would have to take off my sweater to take off my bikini, so I'll leave it on under this. Do you think this entire strategy was improvised? Selecting heroes tiny depending on where your army is located when you get enough gold? I don't know. I really don't know if it was improvised. Lin is obviously a much better player than 15 Sway, but he's not so much better that he can just troll him. And Lin is also the most experimental orc, I think, of all the top orcs. So this could be something that Lin thought out. It also could be something that Lin just made up on the fly. Regardless, I thought it was an interesting, funny sort of strat. But I couldn't really tell you. How's the lumber? So he's got no upgrades. So pretty much all he's invested into lumber-wise was the Berserker upgrade and the 3 heroes. He's building more peons, but only now. So he's getting a 3rd peon. But the lumber worked out quite well, actually. No reinforced defenses, no upgrades, no Bloodlust yet. So he's getting more peons, so then he'll eventually probably be able to get Bloodlust and start to get at least +1 on the Berserkers, right? So now he'll get some peons. I'll keep an eye on how many extras he actually builds. And this fight, remember, this fight, you don't have to win the game here. You don't even have to win the fight. All you have to do is keep your expansion safe. That's the main thing to remember as a player in this position right here.
A player's forces are under attack.
If he was against a panda, he would have bought heal scrolls, of course, from the shop. Oh, he did buy heal scroll even. I missed it. Tinker goes down, but as long as the Tinker's used a pocket factory or 2, that's all that matters. Lin has 1,100 gold. Okay, now he's macroing. I think eventually he'll get a bestiary as well, by the way. He probably should. But just keeping it simple. Just building Berserkers and Shamans. And he's trading just fine in dandy, right? I even misrallied a couple units. There they are. Tinkers are more than just pocket factories. Yes, yes. At times they are. Okay, he's getting more peons. That'll be the 4th peon, and now he's getting a bestiary. For, of course, Kodos. right? Kodo would be the most important, but eventually Raiders. And it's safe to say Lin has held on long enough at the Tiny to win the game. And especially considering he traded favorably in that fight when he didn't even have to. And look, he realizes this. He realizes there's no expansion for 15 Sway. He realizes he's in such a good position. And if this goes on for another 60 seconds, it'll be unlosable. So look, he's just getting ready for the push. He'll probably even build a shop here, I would imagine. He's actually not going to build a shop. I suppose without a Shadowhunter, it's less important to have a shop. Come on, Tinker. Get in there. Get in there. He could also get an Orb of Lightning on the Farseer, which would be good. Wouldn't be terrible. But... and we'll see what he gets. By the way, four lumber peons seems to be all he needs. He's even getting some grunts now, too. Even getting some grunts. Which helps the front line, right? And no Bloodlust yet. But 4 Shamans, I said that was the number he was going to get to, and then he'd probably go into Bloodlust, but the lumber's a little low still. I don't think this is improvised at all. Lin used to play Farseer, Noggin, and Mass Wyverns occasionally versus Night Elf a while back. For sure. I would be surprised if it was improvised. I would be surprised. It seems a little all over the place, but it also seems very well put together. So, yeah, I think you're right. And obviously, similar to the last 2 games, Lin has mined a lot more, so he's going to slowly but surely get ahead in supply, and that is how we want to win with Farseer. Get slowly but surely ahead in supply. This is a good play from 15 Sway. He's going to try to kill the peons, and then maybe Town Portal away. Did Lin get anything in the War Mill? I don't think so yet. No, he hasn't gotten anything from the War Mill yet. Nothing. Nothing at all. He just got it for the Kodo and, of course, the Headhunters. Right? I like the Wisp being pulled to just make sure the Beastmaster at least gets some value, but of course he doesn't really still. And Lin is just destroying, like he has been the whole game. Satisfying to eat a Rejuve Bear? Yeah, for sure. Headhunters or Berserkers now. Chasing. And more Kodos, more Grunts coming out. And getting an extra Shaman, which might have been a little bit of panic macro, but did he lose? He lost a bunch of Shamans, so he's he's replacing them. And still, what's important is not that he destroyed in that fight. What's important is that he at least trade evenly, and he's still mining on the expansion. That's what's most important. And the Grunts are helping with the front line. I think he went Grunts after the Bestiary got up. Once the Bestiary was up, he instead switched into Grunt and probably Shaman, Kodo Raider, which was a very similar army to what Focus had been going, so he's transitioning from Berserkers into that. And he knows there's no expansion, and he's like, okay, this is probably a Gigi. Oh, 5th Lumber Peon. So he's slowly getting back up to 7. But he hasn't needed the extra lumber yet. Only now Brute Strength, yeah. Because the lumber was so short, right, Samura? Because he needed it for the Tiny Great Hall, he transferred the lumber peons to gold, so he needed that lumber, so he wasn't getting luxuries. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't even get Troll Regen. What's up, FK? How you doing, man? Good to see you. He probably didn't even get Troll Regen this game. Let's see. Alright, let's check this guy. Hopefully he doesn't get attacked. Let's see. Does he have Troll Regen? Nope, he doesn't have Troll Regen. He doesn't have it. So he's cutting all lumber corners, right? This is why this build is cool. I wonder if there's a proper counter and why we don't see it more often. Yeah, that's the interesting thing. The game's about to be over, but I'll just say this before. That's the cool thing about these strategies. Like, this might not be a perfect strategy from Lyn, right? There's definitely going to be weaknesses to it. There's going to be weaknesses to Farseer in general, right? Which is why Blade Master, Shadowhunter, Grunt Shaman, Tier 2 expansion into Tier 3 of the Pitlord Bloodlust is standard. That's why it is standard, because there aren't holes in which you can just lose to a player worse than yourself. If you're in an evenly skilled game and you play well, you're going to win with the standard strategy. That's why it's standard. With these Farseer strategies, and in particular this one we're seeing right here from Lyn, there's always going to be weaknesses. There's going to be ways a player like Moon is going to be able to abuse the strat and just win. But the cool thing is, the first time players see it, even a player as good as Moon or Lyn or Happy or Chaemiko, the first time they see a strategy, they're going to get thrown off by it. Which is why Farseer is a cool thing, because there's so many different, interesting, cheesy strategies that are at least going to work once, twice, 3 times. Even 3 Militia Tower Rush works. It even used to work. I'll show you that after. Let's finish this game and I'll show you something to further prove my point. Everything has a weakness, for sure. But the standard strategies have the least weaknesses. Is that English? Sure. Orc is the weakness. I mean, it's Orc Day. We can complain a little bit, sure. And that'll be GG. Yeah, and to touch on that question, yeah, what about if Night Elves go DH? Now, I will say, of all the replays I downloaded, there was no Farseer against Demon Hunter. The reason why that happened with these replays, because I only watched Focus, Lyn, Fly, So, and Hitman games. Hitman doesn't play Farseer, though, against Elf. Is because top-tier Night Elf players don't play Demon Hunter on maps other than Last Refuge. So players simply just don't go Farseer on Last Refuge, they go Blade Master. So there was no games at the top level of seeing Demon Hunter against Farseer, unfortunately. So I can't really tell you what the best response to seeing Demon Hunter or Warden with a Farseer is, because I don't have any replays to tell you. But I would say, off the top of my head, probably Demon Hunter, the weakness of it is it's more susceptible to tower rushes, because Entangle and Treants are, of course, very good against cheeses and tower rushes. That's why we no longer see, like, Tinker, Naga tower rushes in Human against Night Elf. So I would say, if you're going to play Farseer and they end up playing Demon Hunter, to go for, like, a 4-grunt Demolisher tower rush with a Naga second, something like that. Right? But that's just my guess. That's not something I know from seeing pro players do it, right? Agree with what you said. I got so many wins with weird hunt shit. Exactly. But if you were to play, say you beat Moon the first 5 times, he'll probably beat you the next 30 times because he's got it figured out. But those first 5 times, at least you'll get the W. Now, I want to prove that point further by showing you guys something right now. What's the replay? Or what's the... Now, this is very low quality. This is very low quality, but let's... Now, okay. So, the point I'm trying to prove right here is that wacky strategies, even against the best players in the world, if they have not seen those wacky strategies, they're always going to lose to them the first time, assuming it's a well-thought-out, well-executed wacky strategy. I'll prove that to you right now. 3 Militia Tower Rush, a strategy that even 1,400 MMR players nowadays know how to beat. Right? You call 3 Militia as a human right away. You call 3 Militia right away as a human, and you build towers without a hero in the Night Elf's base. Now here's TH versus Moon in 2010, before the strategy was well known. Alright? Here it is. Here's Grubby, there's Toss Spot, Legends. And TH is very low quality, I know, is going to go for a 3 Militia Tower Rush. Now, Moon had never had never seen this before, as far as I know. Maybe he had, maybe he hadn't. Grubby pretty much knew what it was, but obviously it was not well known enough for TH to do it. This was the grand finals. Look, see, MSI beat it, 2010 grand finals. What's the prize pool? Let me see. How much money is this for? $25,000. This is for $25,000. Look. And what ends up happening in this game? This was the first time maybe Moon ever saw it. The game is crazy. If you guys want to go watch a series, this is the name of the... This is like one of my favorite series. Neo saying as well. Yeah, this is probably my favorite best of 3, best of 5 of all time. Yeah, it was a best of 5, right? Yeah, best of 5. Just because these first few maps were so sick. But TH ends up winning. Super late game, but still it works. Like, this game is just totally... Look how crazy it gets. Right? And a strategy that is nowadays laughably terrible. Anyone can beat it. Every Night Elf knows how to destroy it. That might be hyperbole, but you know what I mean. Was once very, very good. So similar to the 3 Militia Tower Rush back in 2010, I bring you Farseer against Night Elf. It's going to work for similar reasons, and in the case of Focus, I think it works actually just strategically very well, the style of Focus, whereas Lin is doing more the 3 Militia side of things. Right? How do you beat 3 Militia Tower Rush? Well, nowadays you're going to be going Keeper against Human. So you just go Treants and you just keep building Archers. And it's pretty easy to beat a lot of the time. Making sure to kill the Peasants first. YouTube link? Yeah, I can link you. One sec. This is for Game 2. But what I looked up on YouTube was just MSI beat it 2010 Warcraft 3. That's what I looked up. Or MSI beat it Moon vs. Thu, sorry, is what I YouTubed. And there's five games. It's a best of 5, and I believe it win all 5 games. Is that actually the play against Tower Rush? Against 3 Militia Tower Rush, specifically. And that concludes today's episode. Are there any further questions, guys? Now, that ended up being a lot funner than I thought it was going to be. Because, you know, I personally don't play Farseer. I don't like it, but maybe I'll try it. Maybe I'll try it on ladder. Maybe I'll try it on ladder. Who knows? And it might not be the best thing to do, right? That's the whole point of this episode, right? It might not be the best strategy in the whole world. Blade Master's going to always be better. Orc players are going to say it's a joke and it's not good. But the fact is, it is played at the top level. It was played literally 12 hours ago by Lin in a best of 5 in the semifinals of a tournament that he ended up getting 3rd place in. So it is a strategy worth looking into, even if it's not the best possible strategy. Coronol did it in EPS 1 to 2 times. I don't know. Is that a player? I've never seen it before. Never seen it before. With cannon towers? Oh my god. I gotta look up. Who is that guy? Coronol. As a German human player. Wow. Okay. He was known for making rap songs about Warcraft 3. Alternate IDs, Bruce Willis. Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. That's a deep cut. That's a deep cut right there. Any other instances you can remember of 3 Militia TR working? Not at the highest level. Not at the top level. TH wasn't, of course, he wasn't the TH we know nowadays in 2010. He was just sort of on the up and up. You know, maybe 3-4 years later, he was the top player in the world. But Moon was, right? So that's the only instance I know of that happened to top players. When was the last time you had short hair? 4 years ago. I've gotten it trimmed twice, but 4 years ago. I shaved my head completely. Yeah, I think that was the last time. I might cut it again soon. Maybe I might shave completely and cut my hair. See what happens. Who cares? Just hair, right? Just hair. All right, that was fun, guys. We're hitting the 3-hour mark. Good solid 2.5-hour show. I think I got to go play a music show now, too. Yeah, I think I do. So I'm going to go get ready for that. You guys have yourself a good Thursday. I'll see you tomorrow for War 3 Champions, which is starting in, Jesus, when does it start? 15 CET, so 3 p.m. CET. Yeah, which is 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. That'll be starting. Lots of good matches. Lots of good matches. So we'll see you for that. Shout out to the sponsor of the stream, CORSAIR, !CORSAIR in the chat. You can get 10% off at checkout with the coupon code Back to Warcraft. That's the same code you see in the URL above. Back to Warcraft. They have all these sorts of things. Keyboard. They even got mics. They got mic stands. They got mice. They got monitors. They got lights. I'm using some of their lights right now. The green screens. Incredible. You can get 10% off all that stuff at checkout. 2 time zones only. It was 3 time zones. 3 time zones. And also the summertime's messing me up, man. So I don't. My time zones are off this week. 8 a.m. Mountain Time. There we go. And also shout out to the patrons! Patreon in the chat. If you already are a sub or something, you want to support us a little bit extra, this is a great way to do it. You get a little bit in return yourself. You can get the Back to Warcraft podcast a week early. You can get music recommendations, movie recommendations. You can get private coaching with me and Remo Demo. We do monthly, somewhat, fun game evenings. Plenty of cool stuff. You also get a shout out at the end of the stream. So ! Patreon in the chat if you want to check that out. It's also just patreon.com/backtowarcraft. The €500 Golden Goat patron. Kanabi Quakes, the €50 Midas tier patrons, Toxie, Dondolare, Grinchy, J. Gatz, Scription, Sir Kato, Teggy, and the €25 Profiteer patrons, Armin VB, Burning Blades, and KMS 3D. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate you for watching. Check out all those links. And I'll see you tomorrow for War 3 Champions. Bye-bye.